Chapter 33:20. Seeing this, Lin Xian laughed. He waved the spear of destruction again and activated the snap of fingers. The great destruction spear rushed out, carrying with it the power to annihilate everything in the blink of an eye. Yan Nantian snorted and attacked. He still used the body of the thunder god and the vermilion bird divine feather. However, the power of the snap of fingers spread out and shrouded Yan Nantian. Not good. Yan Nantian's face changed. He found that there were more cracks on his body. Not only that, the lightning on his body dissipated quickly, as if it was flowing in reverse. In the end, all the lightning disappeared. Yan Nantian's body of the thunder god was broken. Buzz. Another snap of fingers. Yan Nantian was injured again. Many cracks appeared on his body, as if he was going to turn into ashes. Damn it, Yan Nantian roared. The body of the thunder god was formed again. At the same time, the sun and moon danced wildly and attacked. In addition, he used an extremely terrifying divine ability from the great emperor's inheritance, sky-destroying finger. Yan Nantian stretched out a finger. 7 laws danced on it and intertwined, forming a terrifying Tao pattern. A terrifying aura spread out between heaven and earth and gathered on the finger. It was as if the finger could pierce the sky and destroy everything. At this moment, the other martial artists in the Demon Cultivation Valley were trembling in fear. Although they did not know what was happening, the aura was too terrifying. Damn it, it's the sky-destroying finger. This Yan Nantian, he even learned this move. Among the 3 figures, one of them exclaimed, "This was an extremely powerful great mystic power. Back in the day, the great Emperor Han Wu could destroy hundreds of starry sky worlds with a single strike of the heavenly finger. It could be said that its power was terrifying." Lin Xian naturally sensed the danger as well. His opponent's finger posed a great threat to him. Therefore, he did not hesitate to use his divine ability. On the spear of destruction, flames danced and formed a black lotus. Fiery lotus of destruction. Lin Xian brandished the great obliteration spear and smashed the black lotus away. At the same time, his opponent's sky obliteration finger was also unleashed. One was a great emperor superpower, and the other was a law superpower. When the two collided, the power was too terrifying. At this moment, the 3 spectators and Cloud Sky Saint all retreated. A huge black hole appeared in the Devil Cultivation Valley. The people outside the valley were stunned when they saw this scene. What's going on? What kind of divine ability was this? Heavens? Could it be that 2 saints were fighting? The 2 great divine abilities clashed in the air with incomparable radiance. Lin Xian and Yan Nantian both felt a violent impact. Block for me. The 9 monarch marks on Yan Nantian's body spun continuously as lightning once again surrounded his body. Body of the thunder god. On the other side, Lin Xian also pushed his 9 yang divine body to the limit. Countless forces hit his body, producing clanging sounds. After the first strike, the 2 of them charged forward again. It was the extermination fiery lotus against the heaven extermination finger. The 2 of them clashed 3 times. Their bodies were injured, and cracks were all over. In the blink of an eye, sun and moon under the heavens. The sun and moon rose in the sky. Another 2 great divine abilities appeared. Lin Xian used a law superpower again. Yan Nantian relied on his body of the thunder god and used the sun and moon again. The combination of the 2 was also a terrifying great divine ability. The 2 of them attacked without any regard for their lives. Everywhere they passed, mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. At this moment, everyone hid. In the Devil Cultivation Valley, those who were weaker directly fainted. Some were even affected by the shock waves. Their bodies split into a bloody mist. "I surrender!" Screams rang out one after another. They were thrown out by a huge force. Those who were weaker all left. There was no other way. Although they were unwilling, they didn't want to be blasted to ashes by this force. Long Zhao Tian and Zhao Wuliang had already escaped to a safe place. At this moment, they were looking into the distance at the apocalyptic scene and the terrifying power. Their bodies were all trembling. It was too terrifying. These two people were really terrifying. In their opinion, they were both top half saints. They even thought that they could compete with Yan Nantian. They could even trample on the other party. But now, they found that they were wrong. Yan Nantian might not have been as good as them a few years ago, but now he had surpassed them. This was definitely the combat strength of a saint. This time, it was impossible for them to win the championship. It would be good enough if they could guarantee to be in the top 5. In front of them, countless destructive cracks spread rapidly. Lin Xian and Yan Nanshan's figures appeared. Both of their bodies were damaged. Countless bloody holes appeared on Yan Nanshan's body. His entire body was riddled with holes. There were also several large cracks on Lin Xian's body. One of the slashes almost cut him in half. The successor of the great emperor? He was indeed extraordinary. Lin Xian found that Yan Nantian was indeed very strong. He was not weaker than the great demon at all, as expected of the successor of the great emperor. On the other side, Yan Nantian was also extremely shocked. Damn it, the other party was actually evenly matched with him. Perhaps even an ordinary saint could not do this. Who was this person? Could it be that he was also a successor of the great emperor? Damn it, I admit that you are very strong. But unfortunately, I still won this battle. Speaking of this, a bright light appeared in Yan Nanshan's eyes. The 9 runes around him suddenly changed. They turned into 9 light vortexes and began to madly absorb the power of heaven and earth around them. Then they poured into his body and repaired his injuries. I have the great emperor's superpower. No matter if it is attack, defense, or recovery, they are all unparalleled in the world. Although your strength is comparable to mine, what about recovery? I can recover in an instant. What about you? Can you compete with me? Seeing the bloody holes on Yan Nanshan's body quickly healing, Lin Xian also smiled. You are too confident. You are underestimating the world. Today, I will show you my superpower. Nirvana rebirth. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a piercing light. He formed a seal with his fingers. Suddenly, the black flames around him jumped. They turned into a monstrous fire and enveloped him. A mysterious and terrifying power erupted. Lin Xian seemed to have been reborn from the fire. The cracks on his body were also quickly repaired. Moreover, his speed was not slower than Yan Nanshan's. In fact, he was even faster. There were still 3 holes on Yan Nanshan's body that had not healed. On the other side, Lin Xian took a step forward. The great destruction spear in his hand rushed out again. This time, Lin Xian mobilized the great dragon sword soul in his body and integrated it into the great destruction spear. Suddenly, the great destruction spear seemed to have been given a soul. It came alive and trembled nonstop. It turned into a giant dragon that was thousands of feet long and rushed over. In an instant, it engulfed Yan Nantian. Chapter 33:21. Boom, 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 boom. The valley of demon cultivation shook violently as if it was about to break apart. The terrifying energy caused the people outside of the devil cultivation valley to tremble. Not good. Yan Nantian was in danger. They could feel the demonic aura below them, and Yan Nanshan's aura seemed to have weakened. The faces of the Vermilion Bird Palace elders changed. Boom, boom, boom. The violent energy in the Valley of Demon Cultivation lasted for a long time before it slowly disappeared. Yan Nantian had been smashed into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. More than half of his head had been shattered. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He had almost been killed. It was over. Lin Xian waved the Great Destruction Spear again and rushed over. The remaining half of Yan Nanshan's head screamed, "Damn it! Just you wait. I won't let you go." A beam of light shot out from between his brows. It shattered the void and then drilled into it, disappearing without a trace. He had escaped. The people who were secretly watching the battle were stunned. Yan Nantian, the successor of Atharch, had been beaten half to death. Had he escaped? This scene was simply too dreamy. Lin Xian took a deep breath and kept the Great Destruction Spear. He then rushed into the sky. He disappeared into the void. "Let's go," Yan Ryu said to the Northern Devil in the distance. The Northern Devil nodded. He knew that Yan Ryu had brought him to meet that person. He was just curious. Who was that person? He had an answer in his heart, but he couldn't believe it. Lin Xian landed on a mountain. Yan Ryu had brought the Northern Devil over. "Looks like you succeeded." Yan Ryu smiled. Lin Xian shook his head. He had used up one Dvarch regeneration talisman this time. However, he didn't know how many Dvarch regeneration talismans he had. Lin Xian had seen the Dvarch regeneration talisman before. Back in Skyfire City, Yan Nantian had tried to take the Great Destruction Divine Furnace. In the end, he had almost been killed by the furnace. Yan Nantian had used the Dvarch regeneration talisman once. However, there shouldn't be too many of them. If he allowed the other party to exhaust him once more, the other party would most likely not be able to escape when the final ranking was decided. If he was lucky, he might be able to kill the other party. "Oh, right. Who are you?" "Yan Ryu told me that we knew each other." "Who are you?" the North Demon asked. Lin Xian smiled. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly frowned and pulled out the Spear of Annihilation, stabbing it into the void behind him. With a loud boom, a huge black hole was pierced through the void behind him. A silhouette left quickly, leaving behind a trail of blood. Within the blood, there were traces of the power of laws. It was extremely terrifying. Someone was there. Seeing this scene, the northern monster was shocked, and Yan Ruyu's expression was grave. Lin Xian repelled that person. Then, a golden light appeared in his eyes as he looked in two other directions. "Why aren't you retreating? Do you really want me to attack?" It was quiet all around. Not a single sound could be heard. It was as if there was no one around. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Through his heavenly secret god eyes, he could see that there were two more figures hiding in the surroundings, and they were hidden really well. Even he could only see a blurry figure, but that was enough. He would use the Spear of Annihilation to strike out two more times, causing endless black holes to appear in those two directions. Only then would the two of them leave. After the three of them left, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The auras of the three of them were not ordinary. They had already surpassed Zhao Wuliang and Long Zhaotian. He reckoned that they wouldn't be too far off from Yan Nantian. After the North Demon heard this, he took a deep breath. What was going on? Why were there such terrifying experts again? Yan Ryu said, "They should be the three fellas who had their clones of the saints sent down. Their powers were really strange, and they could even use some special mystic skills. Don't let them sneak up on you. Don't worry, if we were to fight one-on-one, they wouldn't be a match for me. But I have my ways." Lin Xian's voice was cold. Were these people here for him? Or for the Spear of Annihilation in his hand? In this battle, the Spear of Annihilation was too dazzling. It could easily defeat a half-saint like Long Zhaotian. Even Yan Nantian had escaped. One could imagine that everyone's eyes would be on the Spear of Annihilation in his hand. Even saints would be jealous of such a peerless weapon. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and looked at the North Demon again. "You should have guessed who I am." "That's right. Your guess is the answer." Lin Xian did not remove the black flames on his body because he was afraid that someone would peep at him from the side. The answer was very obvious. "Is it really you?" After the North Demon heard this, he took a deep breath. He was really shocked. He did not expect Lin Xian to not only not die, but his strength had also increased greatly. He even obtained the treasure of the great demon, the Spear of Annihilation. It was really unbelievable. The North Demon heaved a sigh of relief. No wonder. I knew it. You wouldn't die so easily. You wouldn't die so easily. Are you sure? At that moment, a cold voice sounded. Then the surrounding void shattered, and the ground cracked open. A figure descended forcefully. The North Demon's pupils constricted. Yan Ruyu's expression also changed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Endless black flames rose from his body and turned into a black canopy that blocked the attack. The figure faced the canopy. The aura on his body was extremely terrifying. Cloud Sky Saint, Yan Ruyu exclaimed. He did not expect the other party to attack so quickly. I can hold him back for a while. Hurry up and leave. It's not easy to fight now. Yan Ruyu stepped forward. The North Demon said, I can hold on for a while. He also stepped forward. In their opinion, Lin Xian had just experienced a life-and-death battle with Yan Nantian. He was probably much weaker. If he fought with a saint now, he would be at a disadvantage. However, Lin Xian said, There's no need. I'm fine. Moreover, my combat strength has returned to its peak. Previously, he had suffered serious injuries. However, he had used the law of divine ability and the Nirvana rebirth technique to recover his body. Moreover, after the battle, he had used another law of divine ability to recuperate. Therefore, he had basically recovered to his peak. Even if he faced a saint, he would not be at a disadvantage. Above, the Cloud Sky Saint revealed a disdainful expression when he saw the three of them fighting to attack him. Ignorant ants. I'm not someone that trash can compare to. I'm a true saint. The divine chains of order on his body rattled. It was very terrifying. He stared at Lin Xian. Although I don't know who you are, you're very suspicious. You might be the murderer of the Yun family's prodigy. However, that's not important now. I've taken a fancy to the Spear of Annihilation in your hand. Hand it over, and I'll give you a quick death. Chapter 33:22. Not good. The other party is also here for the Great Destruction Spear. Yan Ruyu and the Northern Devil's hearts sank. They knew that this treasure would definitely make the sages go crazy. If you want the Great Destruction Spear, let's see if you have the ability. Lin Xian instantly attacked. The Great Destruction Spear turned into a ray of black light that shot into the sky. At the same time, he said, You two back off. I can handle this. Yan Ruyu and the Northern Devil retreated once again, because they knew that this battle would not be any weaker than the previous one. Cloud Sky Sage did not take it head-on. In fact, he was like a cloud in a painting, instantly disappearing and dodging the attack. In the next moment, countless clouds of mist condensed in the distance, and his figure appeared. Useless brat, I let you escape last time, but I won't let you escape this time. He waved his hand and activated his saint domain. It enveloped Lin Xian. In the next moment, an incomparably terrifying light surrounded the area, shocking everyone. The people in the demonic cultivation valley heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that the battle was over and they would be safe. However, they cried out in alarm once again. Another wave of power that was the same as before erupted, sweeping through the 9 heavens, causing them to almost go crazy. Heavens, who's fighting who this time? The people outside the demonic cultivation valley were also stunned. What's going on? Why is there another battle? Could it be that Yan Nantian has returned? In the saint domain, Cloud Sky Sage became a dominating existence and began to surround Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian was extremely terrifying. He actually pierced through the saint domain and flew in a certain direction. You can't escape. Cloud Sky Sage chased after him. The two of them were very fast, turning into streaks of light. Everywhere they passed, a terrifying wave of energy swept over like a wave, causing everyone to run away. In front, Lin Xian sneered as he flew. Running away? What a joke! He was not running away. Instead, he thought of a way to suppress Cloud Sky Sage. Previously, when Lin Xian had used the Great Spear of Destruction to summon the demonic qi, he had sensed that something had changed in the Valley of Devil Cultivation, the demonic cultivation valley. From the name, one could tell that it was related to demons. Lin Xian's use of the Great Destruction Spear might have alarmed some unexpected changes in the mountain valley. Now he was using this change to deal with Cloud Sky Saint. Holding the Great Destruction Spear, Lin Xian carefully sensed his surroundings. At the same time, he activated his heavenly secret god eyes and scanned his surroundings. His speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he had completely left the surroundings and flew towards the depths of the Devil Cultivation Valley. Cloud Sky Saint followed closely behind. He did not care. In his opinion, there was nothing that could threaten him. Found it, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He discovered that in the depths of the Devil Cultivation Valley, there was a devil pond. On both sides of the demonic pond, there were two ancient palaces. It was similar to the palace they had cultivated in before, but it was even more majestic and ancient. Lin Xian arrived in front of the ancient palace and turned around. Cloud Sky Saint followed closely behind and also landed. He looked at the two palaces in front of him, narrowed his eyes, and asked, "Is this the grave you chose for yourself? It's not bad to have two palaces with you. However, since you dared to run so far, I'll destroy your body and soul." Terrifying laws rose from Cloud Sky Saint's body. His sacred region descended from the sky, wanting to envelop Lin Xian. Once again, Lin Xian sneered and retreated. Cloud Sky Saint chased after him. When he retreated to the middle of the two palaces, Lin Xian stabbed the Great Destruction Spear into the demonic pond below. Boom! A terrifying tremor spread out. It seemed like the Great Destruction Spear had awakened something. Buzz! A black aura instantly rushed out and completely enveloped Lin Xian and Cloud Sky Saint. Then it pulled them into the demonic pond below. Break! Lin Xian roared. The great dragon sword's soul instantly merged with the Great Destruction Spear and pierced through the sky to escape. He was always prepared, so his reaction was extremely fast. Cloud Sky Saint was one step too late. He had never expected that there would be a trap here that could threaten him. By the time he reacted and wanted to retaliate, it was already too late. He was pulled into the demonic pond. Gurgle, gurgle. The demonic pond splashed and then became extremely calm. Lin Xian was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He turned around and left. Who knew what was inside? But it could definitely threaten a saint. This way, he should have gotten rid of this guy, right? Lin Xian returned. On the other side, Yan Ruyu and the North Demon were extremely anxious. They did not expect that Lin Xian and Cloud Sky Saint would leave after exchanging a few blows. Did Lin Xian lose? They did not know, so they chased after him to take a look. But halfway through, they realized that Lin Xian had returned. "Are you okay?" Yan Ruyu asked with concern. Lin Xian said, "I'm fine." The North Demon asked if the battle had ended. He did not sense any powerful aura. Where was Cloud Sky Saint? Him? I don't think he will come out again. Lin Xian said with a smile. Hearing this, Yan Ruyu and the Northern Devil both sucked in a breath of cold air. Won't come out again? What did that mean? Could it be that Cloud Sky Saint was dead? A saint had fallen just like that? He was easily killed by Lin Xian? The two of them did not dare to believe it. Lin Xian was powerful, but Cloud Sky Saint was not bad either. He was even stronger than Yan Nantian. Lin Xian saw their confusion and said, "I didn't do it. I lured that guy into the depths of the Demon Cultivation Valley. There seemed to be a terrifying existence there that swallowed both of us. I used the great spear of destruction to escape. That guy probably didn't manage to escape. It turned out to be like this. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief, but at the same time, they were puzzled. There was actually an existence that could threaten a saint. It was really frightening. Let's not wander around. Basically, no one is my match now. The others have also been cleaned up. We just need to wait a few days for the first stage to end. Yan Ryu said in a low voice. Okay. Lin Xian and the North Demon did not refute. The three of them worked together and settled down. The three of them were comprehending. Once they left the Demon Cultivation Valley, the laws they comprehended would disappear. Now was the best time for them to comprehend these laws. The remaining few days were extremely quiet. Even if there were battles, they would not be that intense, because even someone like Yen Nantian was injured. The others probably would not dare to make a move. Finally, the day that the Devil Cultivation Valley opened once again arrived. Everyone left in a frenzy. At the same time, they heaved a sigh of relief. They knew that everything was over. Not only would they survive, but they would also be able to participate in the second stage. Buzz. The first to rush out was Yen Nantian. The four divine beasts circled around him. His face was extremely cold. In an instant, he rushed out and met up with the elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace. What's going on? The elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace asked. Chapter 33:23. Seeing that Yen Nantian was fine, they all heaved a sigh of relief. However, Yen Nantian's expression was very cold. There was a person below with demonic energy and the Great Destruction Spear in his hand. He had to find him, kill him, and snatch the Great Destruction Spear. After hearing this, the Vermilion Bird Palace elders' pupils shrank. Their faces were filled with shock and surprise. Wasn't the Great Destruction Spear something that belonged to the Great Demon? Why would it appear here? Don't ask, capture that guy first. Yen Nantian transmitted his voice and used his soul to transmit the other party's image into the Vermilion Bird Palace elders' minds. These elders saw a man whose entire body was pitch black like a devil. In his hand was the Great Destruction Spear. I know. I'll inform the palace lord and have him send experts to suppress him. Yen Nantian said. There was no need for half-sages to come. Saint should attack directly. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to escape. All right. The Vermilion Bird Palace elders quietly hid themselves. They probably went back to call the saints to capture him. The others didn't know that the elders and seniors of the various clans and sects heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the cultivators on their side come out. Great, they knew that they could enter the second stage. Where was that kid? The dark rainbow divine dragon looked down, but it still didn't see Lin Xian's figure. The Devil Cultivation Valley opened. Lin Xian and the other two opened their eyes. They could finally leave. They heaved a sigh of relief. It was really dangerous this time. What about you? Yen Nantian probably wouldn't let this go. Yen Ryu was a bit worried. Lin Xian said, It's fine. I can change my appearance and aura, then we'll separate. He won't be able to find us. All right, you leave first. We'll leave later. And Lin Xian nodded. Then the demonic energy on his body disappeared, and he became ordinary. His appearance also changed. Some beard even grew on his face. He seemed to have become a 2,000 to 3,000 years old middle-aged man. Yen Ryu was still worried. She even observed him and realized that she really couldn't find him unless she used some trump card. However, this trump card was very precious. She guessed that the Vermilion Bird Palace elders wouldn't be able to find it. Even saints can't find you like this, unless there's a special saint artifact. All right then, I'll be leaving first. See you in the third stage, Lin Xian said. Then he flew out and left with the crowd. Outside, the Vermilion Bird Palace acted very quickly. When the elder spread the news, the Vermilion Bird Palace master arrived. Accompanying them were two other figures. Of course, these two figures were hidden in the void. They didn't release any aura, but their cold eyes were mercilessly looking down on the entire Devil Cultivation Valley. Sages, two sages. The Vermilion Bird Palace was truly generous. Although they didn't see anyone, the surrounding people did feel an indescribable pressure. There seemed to be some kind of colossus beside them. Many of the older generation's expressions changed. Perhaps there really were some powerful cultivators from the Vermilion Bird Palace here. It should be at the level of a saint. They quickly quieted down and discussed in low voices. Some people wanted to leave, but they were stopped by the elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace. Everyone, please wait a moment. Our Vermilion Bird Palace master is going to announce the second stage. When these words came out, the crowd couldn't leave. They stayed there, uneasy. Long Zhao Tian, Zhao Wuliang, and the others gritted their teeth and looked down. Why hasn't that guy come out yet? They found it hard to believe. Could that guy be hiding inside and not coming out? Next to them, there were screams. No, damn it, how is that possible? They realized that their family's geniuses had been killed. The nine-headed Lion King clan, the Black Shark clan, the Dark Shadow clan. In short, most of the geniuses that everyone was familiar with had been killed. This made many people feel that the end of the world was coming. Heavens, there were so many people at the top of the Abyss leaderboard. Had they all died? Who was the one who did it? They didn't dare to believe it. At the same time, Lin Xian also flew up with the remaining people. He narrowed his eyes as he felt two gazes from the void shrouding him. He didn't open his Tianji divine eye, nor did he show any abnormalities. Instead, he concealed his aura. At the same time, he snorted coldly in his heart. There were two sages here, that damned Yan Nantian, and the Vermilion Bird Palace sent out two sages to capture him. Fortunately, he was prepared in advance, so he was very calm now. Following the gazes of the sages, Lin Xian flew out, safe and sound. Next, after waiting for a while, the North Demon and Yen Ryu also came out. When the two of them came out, Long Zhao Tian and Zhao Wuliang became nervous. Yan Nantian burst out with a biting cold light, and the phantoms of the four divine beasts soared into the sky, letting out a terrifying howl. They're here. His expression was serious. The palace master of the Vermilion Bird Palace's eyes lit up, and so did the two sages in the dark. They quietly opened their saint domains and enveloped the area. Even a saint would not be able to escape their pursuit. However, they were soon stunned because they realized that other than the North Demon and Yen Ryu, there was no one else. What was going on? Where was that person? Long Zhao Tian and Zhao Wuliang were stunned. Lu Mu also frowned, and Yan Nanshan's expression darkened. He didn't come out. What was going on? Could it be that he guessed that they would send experts to hunt him down? So he hid in the valley and didn't come out? Humph! Thinking of that, he sneered. He secretly transmitted his voice to the palace master of the Vermilion Bird Palace. One of the sages moved out. He entered the valley below and probed in all directions with his soul. However, he found that there was no trace of anyone else. Everyone had come out. What was going on? They were stunned. Even the elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace went down and searched frantically. The others looked at each other. What was going on? Was the Vermilion Bird Palace still looking for someone? They didn't know. However, those who had participated in the first round were very puzzled. They discovered that there was indeed someone missing. A person with monstrous demonic chi was missing. That shouldn't be. Who was fighting with Yan Nantian. That person? At the same time, another scream was heard. Where was the patriarch? The people of the Yun family went crazy. Everyone came out. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace went down to search, but their cloud sky saint didn't come out. What was going on? The others naturally noticed and immediately began to discuss. No way Cloud Sky Saint didn't come out? Could it be that the people of the Vermilion Bird Palace were looking for Cloud Sky Saint? He was a dignified saint who was even more powerful than Yen Nantian. How could there be a problem? Could it be that they found some treasure below? Yen Nantian frowned. That's right, why didn't Cloud Sky Saint come out? However, they weren't looking for Cloud Sky Saint. Not long after, the elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace came out. The saint also came out. His powerful saint aura suppressed heaven and earth. Everyone exclaimed. They thought that Cloud Sky Saint had returned, but they realized that it wasn't. It was an unfamiliar saint. However, it seemed that he was from the Vermilion Bird Palace. What was the Vermilion Bird Palace's saint doing here? Everyone was even more puzzled. Chapter 33:24. No, the Vermilion Bird Palace's saint frowned. What is going on? The people of Vermilion Bird Palace looked at Yen Nantian. Yen Nantian's expression changed. Impossible, he couldn't have disappeared. Damn it, he hid? He must know we are looking for him. He is hiding among these people. Yen Nantian looked around. His gaze was as sharp as a knife. He scanned these people, but he couldn't figure out who they were. Although many people had been eliminated in the first trial, there were still about 500 people left. He couldn't eliminate them one by one, because that would anger them. After all, too many geniuses had died in the first trial. At this moment, all the large families and sects were very angry, especially now that the Cloud Firmament Saint had mysteriously disappeared. If they dared to use force, these people would go berserk. Although they weren't afraid of anyone on planet Suzaku, these people weren't from planet Suzaku. They were from other worlds. Some of them were even very terrifying. If they were to join forces, they wouldn't be able to handle them. Don't worry, he won't be able to escape. He will definitely give himself away in the second and third trials. Once he appears, we will lock onto him. At that time, we will slowly deal with him. Yen Nantian's voice was cold. The others nodded. It looked like that was the only thing they could do. The Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master stood up and said loudly, "There are a total of 505 people who passed the first trial. Next up is the second trial. The second trial is very simple. It is to ascend the Vermilion Bird platform. You have half a day. Those who successfully ascend the Vermilion Bird platform within half a day will advance to the next trial. Those who fail will be eliminated." What? The Vermilion Bird platform? The moment he said that, everyone's expression changed, especially the 500 people who passed the first trial. Their expressions became ugly. The Vermilion Bird platform, the place where the Vermilion Bird Saint comprehended Tao. That place wasn't that easy to ascend. The Vermilion Bird platform had 99 floors. It was a very famous building on planet Suzaku because it was the place where a very terrifying Vermilion Bird Saint comprehended Tao. The Vermilion Bird platform was filled with the aura of a saint, so it was very terrifying. Kings couldn't even get close. Only half-saints could go up there. However, reaching the top was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The 99 levels of the Vermilion Bird Terrace. Most people would be exhausted after a dozen or so levels. They would not be able to withstand that terrifying aura. Perhaps only a true saint or an extremely terrifying half-saint could reach the 99th floor now. Either that, or they had special magical treasures or bloodlines that could counteract that terrifying aura. It seemed that there were not many people who could pass the second stage. The 500 contestants all had serious expressions on their faces. Lin Xian didn't care. "Now follow me to the Vermilion Bird Terrace." The Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master said coldly. He waved his hand and took the lead to soar into the air. The others could only follow. The two saints did not leave either. Instead, they firmly locked onto the crowd to prevent anyone from escaping. At the same time, they also sent experts from the Vermilion Bird Palace to guard this place to see if the other party was really hiding here. In the beginning, everyone was flying very quickly, but Planet Suzaku was very big. Later on, one of the saints activated his saint domain and enveloped everyone, causing their speed to reach an extreme. After flying for about half a day, the group finally came to a stop. The saint domain retracted, and everyone looked around. On the brown ground, there was a tall platform that reached into the clouds. There were mottled patterns on it. From afar, it looked like many vermilion birds that had been reborn from the fire. This was the legendary Vermilion Bird Terrace. As soon as they arrived, everyone could feel the terrifying pressure from above. Immediately, those people's hearts sank even more. Now, I'll give you 4 hours to recover. After 4 hours, the second stage will begin. What? That short of a time? The expressions of the 500 contestants changed, and they quickly sat down. The elders around them also took out pills with special effects and fed them to them. Lin Xian also sat there without showing anything. It seemed that as long as he entered the platform, everything would be fine. This way, there was no need for him to be too conspicuous. He would wait until the third stage to reveal his identity and kill Yan Nantian. At that time, with so many people watching, the Vermilion Bird Palace would not dare to be too arrogant. After making up his mind, Lin Xian calmed down. He did not have anything to say, but he still put on an act and swallowed 2 pills. The Crimson Dragon also followed the crowd and did not meet up with Lin Xian. He had already received Lin Xian's voice transmission. He mixed in the crowd and watched silently, ready to provide support at any time. For hours quickly passed. Everyone stood up and came to the front of the Vermilion Bird Terrace. The Vermilion Bird Palace Lord waved his hand. With a whoosh, everyone rushed forward. Yan Nantian took the lead. His speed was too fast, to the extreme. The pressure on the Vermilion Bird Terrace was nothing to him. In an instant, he passed through the 30th floor. In the blink of an eye, he reached the 50th floor. Then his speed slowed down. However, in the eyes of the crowd, it was still extremely terrifying. That was the successor of the emperor, Yan Nantian. He was really too strong. However, at the same time, they were even more curious. Who was the person fighting with Yan Nantian? Was he hiding among the 500 or so people? After Yan Nantian, there were a few people who were also very fast. Among them, Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang had already recovered. Long Zhaotian roared. His body was powerful, and the dragon shadow that surrounded him tore everything apart. Zhao Wuliang was like a peerless divine blade. The two of them were very fast and very eye-catching. After all, the two of them were the hot favorites to win the championship. Of course, there were also some hot favorites to win the championship, but they were nowhere to be found. They knew who had fallen in the first round. At the thought of this, countless people shook their heads and sighed. It was too tragic. They did not expect to lose so many geniuses and powerhouses in the first round. In addition to Long Zhaotian and Yan Nantian, Yan Ruyu and the Northern Demon also attracted the attention of the crowd. That was because the two of them were very strong. Apart from that, Lu Mu and the others were also very eye-catching. However, there were still 3 figures that exceeded everyone's expectations. That was because the 3 figures were very fast, even faster than Long Zhaotian, and the others. They were closely following Yan Nantian. Who were those 3 people? They exclaimed in disbelief. That was because those 3 people were very unfamiliar. They were not on the Abyss leaderboard, nor were they the top geniuses of the various great worlds. But the strength of these 3 people was extremely shocking. In the void, the 2 sages stared at the 3 people with bright eyes. Then they revealed a trace of surprise. They actually felt the same aura. It seemed that the 3 of them were not simple. Palace Master. The Elder Kings looked at the Vermilion Bird Palace Master. Chapter 33:25. The Vermilion Bird Palace Master was very calm. It should be the clone of a saint. It was not a threat to Yen Nantian. She thought that the only threat was the Cloud Sky Saint. But now that he had disappeared, another person with the Great Destruction Spear had appeared. As long as she found that person and got rid of him, no one would be able to threaten Yen Nantian. Yen Nantian was the first to reach the 99th step. He stood at the top like a god, looking down. After him, it was not Long Zhaotian, nor was it Zhao Wuliang. Instead, it was three unfamiliar faces. The three of them arrived at the high platform with cold smiles on their faces. This scene surprised Yen Nantian. He stared at the three of them as if he wanted to confirm if the person he was looking for was among them. However, he couldn't be sure at all. Moreover, the appearance of three experts was something he hadn't expected. After them were Long Zhaotian, Yen Ryu, Zhao Wuliang, Northern Demon, Lu Mu, and the others. In the end, only 12 people reached the 99th step of the Vermilion Bird platform. The others all stopped. These people sighed incomparably, but they had no choice. They could not go up at all. When the surrounding martialists saw this, they shook their heads and sighed. Out of 505 people, only 12 would be able to successfully enter the third stage. It had to be said that it was really too cruel. Yen Nantian scanned his surroundings. Apart from the three people he didn't recognize, he recognized the rest of the people. However, he also frowned at the last three people. One of them was a man with a beard. Of the other two, one was a beautiful woman. She was from the Sky Qin Palace. The other was dressed in a black robe. His aura was very cold, and he would occasionally laugh sinisterly. It made one's hair stand on end. This strange scene made Yen Nantian frown. He seemed to want to see through this. However, he still did not find anything strange. He laughed coldly. Let's see how you hide when the third stage begins. Next, the 12 people had a day to rest and recover before entering the final ranking battle. The rest of the people waited patiently as spectators. The final battle was in a place called the Ancient Battlefield. This place was left behind by ancient experts. It was very sturdy, and even saints could not break it. Therefore, it was very suitable for this battle. As the person they were looking for had yet to be found, the two Vermilion Bird Palace saints decided to travel together. They used their saint domains to envelop everyone and bring them to the Vermilion Bird archaic battlefield. The supreme ancient immortal realms was filled with killing intent. The atmosphere was extremely stifling. When the crowd arrived, they did not even dare to breathe loudly. The onlooking martial artists were in the distance. The 12 people participating in the battle came to the front. There were 12 stone platforms in front of them. Everyone jumped up and stood on one. The 12 of them looked at each other from afar. Their eyes glowed brightly as their auras clashed with one another. The palace lord of the Vermilion Bird Palace said coldly as he floated in the air and looked down. The final battle was the ranking competition. The initial ranking was based on the order of the second stage of the Vermilion Bird Pavilion. If anyone was unconvinced, they could issue a challenge. This time, there were no restrictions. They could use any weapons, means, and secret techniques. They could also kill people. This is a battle of honor. The person who obtains the final ranking will receive a generous reward from my Vermilion Bird Palace. Furthermore, your strength will also be witnessed by the powerhouses of the myriad worlds. Therefore, I hope that you won't hold back in this battle. Show me your true strength. After saying those words, the Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master no longer said anything. An elder walked up as the referee. Lin Xian sat cross-legged on a stone platform and looked around. This time, there were simply too many people around him. Experts from many worlds, as well as the representatives of various major forces, were all present. They were the center of attention because after this battle, the people around them might extend an olive branch to them and invite them to join the different factions. As expected, Some people's eyes flashed. They wanted to prove themselves, but Lin Xian did not care. He did not care about joining any faction. All he wanted was the reward for first place, the Earth Tao Stone. There were 2 sages and Yen Nantian around. Although it was dangerous, with Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's methods, it was not impossible for them to leave this place. He had already secretly sent a voice transmission to the Crimson Dragon, telling him to start laying down arrays around them. So when the time came, he could still leave if he wanted to. Thinking of this, he did not hold back. After the 12 people participating in the battle heard the rules, they also took a deep breath and exploded with a biting cold light. Their auras spread out. In the final battle, they naturally would not hold back. Among them, many people looked at Yen Nantian, because Yen Nantian was first in the initial rankings. If no one defeated him, then the final ranking would probably be Yen Nantian's. Among them, the 3 people who had the sage's clones looked at Yen Nantian and sneered. Long Xiaotian and Zhao Wuyang's expressions were a little ugly. Previously, they were full of confidence. However, after being injured by the mysterious person, their confidence had taken a hit, so they did not dare to act rashly now. As for the others, Beiyao looked at Yen Nantian with flickering eyes and sighed. He was no match for Yen Nantian now. Yen Ryu was very calm. She probably did not care too much about the final ranking. At this moment, a man in a black robe said coldly, "In that case, let's clean up the trash first." He stood up, and an unparalleled power erupted from his body. The black aura was like dark clouds that covered the 9 heavens. Seeing this scene, Long Xiaotian and Zhao Wuyang's expressions changed. Could it be that person? Yen Nantian's eyes also exploded with a cold light. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace stared at the other party. Was he the person who had the great spear of destruction? They had finally found their target. The black-robed man stood up, and a blood-red light flashed in his eyes. Who should he eliminate first? He stared at a middle-aged man with a long beard. Then he would eliminate him first. He was currently ranked 10th, and the person he was targeting was ranked 12th. Normally, in a challenge like the last round, one would challenge someone who was ranked higher than them, but this person was challenging someone weaker than them. This scene caused an uproar among the surrounding people. What was this person doing? Damn it, did he come specifically to bully the weak? This was a madman. It would definitely not end well for anyone who was targeted by him. It was over. The bearded man in the last place was probably going to suffer. The 12 people participating in the battle were also stunned, but they soon understood what the other party meant. This person was cleaning up the battlefield and eliminating those who were not qualified to be ranked. However, ordinary people did not need to do that because ants were not worthy of their attention. However, the black-robed man did not seem to care about that. The bearded man in the 12th place narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Are you sure you want to attack me?" Chapter 33:26. The bearded man was none other than Lin Xian. After changing his appearance, he was ranked 12th along with the rest. Don't pretend to be mysterious, kid. Don't scare me with those words. I can sense that your aura isn't strong. That's why I'm eliminating you first, because you don't have the right to be ranked on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. I didn't want to attack you, but since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. How dare you threaten me? I'll make you wish you were dead later. The black-robed man's figure flashed and arrived at the battlefield. There were 12 stone platforms around the battlefield. In the middle was a vast land that was enough for these people to fight. The black-robed man instantly arrived on the ground. He stepped on the red ground and raised his head to look ahead. The aura on his body turned into demonic clouds that covered the sky. Lin Xian took a step forward and came to the front of the battlefield. After he arrived, his appearance quickly changed. He no longer had a big beard. Instead, he had a monstrous demonic aura. The demonic aura on his body was even more terrifying than that of the black-robed man. With a boom, he pulled out the Great Destruction Spear and stabbed it into the ground. The entire ground shook nonstop. It was as if an ancient demonic beast had awakened. What a terrifying demonic aura! The spectators from afar were stunned. The prodigies on the 12 stone platforms were also stunned. Yan Nanshan's pupils constricted as he stood up abruptly. Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their bodies trembled. He's here. He's really here. He's hiding among them. The Vermilion Bird Palace master's eyes lit up. The two sages also snorted coldly. Has he appeared? They stared at the other party. It was indeed the Great Destruction Spear. A hint of greed appeared in their eyes. This kind of weapon was incomparably precious to them. Kid, you've really appeared. Yan Nantian shouted coldly. The aura on his body burned. It seemed that he also wanted to attack. Lin Xian looked at him. Don't be anxious. According to the rules, you can't fight now. But don't worry. Once I'm done with this person, it'll be your death. Everyone was shocked. Arrogant. He's too arrogant. How dare he challenge Yan Nantian? Isn't he afraid of being killed? However, the people participating in the battle were terrified. They remembered the nightmare of the first stage. What's going on? Why are you trembling? The others didn't know what was going on, but they quickly understood. It was very likely that this person was the one who had fought fiercely with Yan Nantian and successfully injured him. And the weapon in his hand was very likely the legendary Great Destruction Spear. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was stunned. The Great Spear of Destruction. Could it be that the great demon had been revived? These people were incomparably excited. As for the black-robed man, he was so scared that he peed his pants. His body began to tremble and his face turned pale. Wait, I don't want to fight you anymore. I admit defeat. To be honest, he even had the heart to die. He originally thought that the 12th place was a piece of trash that he could easily eliminate. But from the looks of it now, that wasn't the case at all. This was a demon king. This was a giant that could even injure Yan Nantian. How could he dare to fight with such a person? He hurriedly begged for mercy. Lin Xian said, "Begging for mercy is impossible. I gave you a chance just now, but since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Your great spear of annihilation will pierce through everything." No, damn it. The black-robed man was scared out of his wits. He quickly dodged and used a powerful divine ability to tear through the void, wanting to escape. The great spear of destruction pierced through his body. With a forceful shake, the black-robed man was torn into pieces. Even his soul had been destroyed. A peerless powerhouse who had successfully reached the 3rd stage couldn't even block a single attack from the opponent. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The people from Vermilion Bird Palace also frowned. What a powerful strength. Who is this person? After Lin Xian killed his opponent with a single spear, he looked around. Who else dares to challenge me? A cold voice sounded, and the surrounding people all fell silent. Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang trembled, their faces filled with despair. They didn't even have the courage to challenge him now. Yan Ryu's lips curled into a smile. The northern demons were extremely shocked. The Sky Qin Palace's genius, Lu Mu, and the others also had serious expressions. They even lowered their heads under Lin Xian's gaze. The scene was silent. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at Yan Nantian. "Now, we can start." Before he could finish his sentence, a man sneered. "Wait, I'll fight you. Why is there someone else?" Everyone thought that after Lin Xian used the Great Spear of Destruction, he would be able to suppress everything. Yan Nantian was probably the only one who could fight him. However, they didn't expect that halfway another person would appear. They hurriedly looked over. That person stood up. It was an unfamiliar person. Originally, Yan Nantian was already impatient. It wasn't easy for him to fight, but He was suddenly stopped. He was very unhappy. He wanted to see who was so bold. However, when he saw that person, he was stunned. It's him. Yanantian narrowed his eyes. He realized that the person who stood up was one of the three unfamiliar faces. The others were also very puzzled and exclaimed, "It's that person. He's so unfamiliar. Yes, I don't know who he is, but I remember that in the second stage he was second only to Yanantian and was even faster than Long Zhaotian. In that case, he's also an expert. That's right. However, I don't know if he can contend against that demon." Everyone discussed. Even the people from Vermilion Bird Palace frowned. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at the other party. "Oh, you want to fight? Do you know the consequences of fighting me?" "Humph, kid, others are afraid of you, but I'm not." Buzz. As he spoke, that person came to the front. It was a gloomy young man. His face was pale and a little sickly, but his gaze was sharp. After he arrived on the field, he smiled. "After hiding for so long, it's time to show my true strength." Buzz. The aura on his body erupted and swept through the 9 heavens. An incomparably terrifying power spread out. The laws in the sky danced, and it was abnormally terrifying. What? A saint. It's actually a saint. Those people in the distance all screamed. Even Long Zhaotian. And the others were stunned. There was a saint hidden among them. They really found it hard to believe. One had to know that Cloud Sky's saint had already made them feel pressured. Now that Cloud Sky's saint had disappeared, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. However, they didn't expect that other than Cloud Sky's saint, there were actually other saints. "Haha, kid, do you still dare to be arrogant in front of me now?" The pale-faced man sneered. "A mere clone of a saint dares to be arrogant in front of me?" Lin Xian sneered. "I'm not even afraid of a real saint, let alone a clone." Chapter 33:27. What? A saint's clone? So he wasn't a real saint, but that was still very terrifying. He had already surpassed Long Zhaotian and was second only to a real saint. How would he compare to Yanantian? But it was definitely terrifying. Could that demon king really be defeated? Everyone was discussing. The sickly man sneered after hearing that. "I didn't expect you to have some eyesight and recognize my origin. However, this isn't an ordinary clone. This body of mine can unleash about 70% of my strength. You definitely won't be able to block it." The pale man's lips curled into a cold smile. "Cut the crap. Let's fight, and we'll know." Lin Xian held the great destruction spear in his hand. His voice was sonorous, and the demonic chi on his body was unparalleled. "Reckless brat, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." The pale man sneered, and then waved his finger. Purple laws filled the sky and danced quickly. Divine chains of laws intertwined to form a purple gourd. The purple gourd bloomed with incomparable light. The flame aura on it was very terrifying. It was even misty. Purple cloud law. This was a very terrifying law. It had the power of both the cloud and fire laws. At this moment, it was really terrifying. Buzz. The purple gourd grew bigger, and the laws on it quickly revolved, forming a purple vortex. It could burn everything and seemed to want to suck Lin Xian in. Lin Xian roared and waved the great destruction spear. It carried the metal and annihilation laws. Boom. The metal law was incomparably sharp. The annihilation laws could melt everything. With this attack, they shot straight into the sky. The attack landed on the purple gourd. The purple gourd kept shaking. The metal law and the power of the great destruction spear caused the gourd's light to dim. The annihilation laws caused the flames to quickly disappear. After that attack, the purple gourd was sent flying. "You're just SOL." Lin Xian sneered. The pale man opposite him changed his expression. Damn it. How could he be so powerful? It must be because of the great destruction spear. I want this thing. He reached out his hand and attacked. At the same time, the purple gourd floated above his head, spewing out purple flames. In front of them was a sea of fire, and the mist was hazy, making it hard for them to see clearly. They could only use their great gods to forcefully see. However, the more they watched, the more shocked they became. Lin Xian was really too powerful. The great spear of destruction struck out, causing the surrounding heaven and earth to buzz and tremble. Countless cracks spread out, and in the end, the purple gourd shattered and pierced through the man's body. Ah! The pale-faced man screamed crazily, trying to break free. However, the great destruction spear was an extremely terrifying weapon. How could he possibly break free? The purple cloud law quickly revolved around his body. Like a cloud, his body became faintly discernible and dim. Only then did he escape from the great spear of destruction. His body permeated the sky, as if he had turned into a world of his own. A cold voice rang out, "Brat, I want you dead." However, in the next moment he screamed. Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul surged out from his body. It had the power to destroy everything. Together with the great destruction spear, it directly pierced through the purple clouds. Immediately, fresh blood flowed out. A miserable cry rang out, causing one's scalp to go numb. The pale-faced young man's body appeared from time to time. Sometimes it would condense, and sometimes turn into clouds. It was very strange. How is this possible? You actually broke my laws. He was too shocked. Zhao Wuyang and the others were terrified. That was a great divine power of a saint. It could transform one's body into a world of its own. It could be said that its power was unparalleled. Those below the saint level could not do anything about it. However, the other party had done it. The other two saint clones also frowned. Their eyes emitted a biting cold light as they stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Yan Nantian also sneered. The others were stunned. The two saints of the Vermilion Bird Palace also frowned. I've said it before. I don't care about mere clones. Even if your true body comes, I can still kill it, let alone you. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as he attacked again. He was too strong. He carried a sky full of demonic qi and charged over again. The pale-faced man was so angry that he roared crazily. As expected, he had never been treated like this before. He was a saint's clone. No one below the saint level was his match. The saint domain flew out, and the entire world turned purple. Terrifying energy roared. He wanted to use his powerful strength to suppress Lin Xian. The great dragon sword soul in Lin Xian's body rumbled. Gray flames danced on his body. The great destruction spear pierced through heaven and earth, directly piercing through the saint domain. In the end, the pale-faced man was pierced again and nailed to the ground. The tail of the great destruction spear shook, shattering heaven and earth. The miserable cry made one's scalp go numb. If we fight again, I'll destroy your body and soul. I admit defeat. The man hurriedly begged for mercy. There was no choice. He was no match for the other party at all. Perhaps it was, as the other party said. Perhaps only his true body could do this. Hearing that the other party had admitted defeat, Lin Xian withdrew the great destruction spear and stood in the void. The man absorbed the power of heaven and earth and returned to the stone platform. His expression was extremely ugly. Who else? Lin Xian asked in a clear voice. I'll do it. The other saint's clone stood up. Although he knew that the other party was powerful, he had to try it himself. Otherwise, he would be even more unwilling. Lin Xian looked at the other party and said in a deep voice. He looked at the two saints' clones. Damn brat. How dare you look down on us? The two saints' clones were instantly furious. Join forces to attack others? They disdained to do so. The others also felt their scalps go numb. What is this guy doing? Isn't he too arrogant? That's right. One clone might not be as strong as a real saint, but two clones joining forces is definitely not weaker than a real saint. Does this guy really think that he can resist them? Everyone was discussing. They all thought that Lin Xian was too arrogant. Being young and arrogant is probably not a good thing. Lin Xian said, "If the two of you join forces, you still have a chance to fight against me. Otherwise, you're not my match at all in a one-on-one fight. You're not worthy to fight against me. Good boy. Since you're courting death, don't blame us." The two saints' clones stood out. The two of them were very strange. One of them looked like a middle-aged man in his 40s, while the other looked like a young man in his late teens. Although their appearances were different, they were undoubtedly two old monsters. At this moment, they were the clones of two saints. Join forces to take him down. Then fight Yen Nantian. An extremely cold light burst out from their eyes. Chapter 33:28. Everything was law. The young man, who was about 18 or 19 years old, roared angrily. Ghostly chi suddenly emerged from his body. His face also became incomparably ferocious. A ghost realm flew out from his body and danced nonstop. This person actually comprehended the ghost Tao laws. Many people exclaimed and felt their hair stand on end. Everything was law. Everything in the world could be comprehended into law. It just depended on whether you could comprehend it. However, most of the 5 elements were the easiest to comprehend. They were also the most basic laws. Of course, they were also the most difficult to cultivate to the top. Apart from that, there were also the evolved laws of the 5 elements, such as wind, thunder, and ice. These laws were also very common. Of course, if a saint was powerful, it was very likely that they would comprehend rare laws, such as the Ghost Tao laws, or laws that were similar to synthesis. Once cultivated, the power would be extremely terrifying. At this moment, the Ghost Tao laws were truly terrifying. The entire world seemed to have become the Ghost Tao world. 10,000 ghosts ate the heart. The young man became the ruler of the Ghost Tao world. With a command, countless evil ghosts appeared around Lin Xian. They wanted to tear his body apart and steal his heart. "You overestimate yourself," Lin Xian sneered. An ocean instantly appeared around him, swallowing the evil ghosts. One after another, blue vortexes revolved around him. The Ghost Tao and the Water Tao laws collided, producing a sonorous sound. Tao laws fragments. "Looks like you're still a half-saint. You can't do anything to me. 100 Ghosts Parade, kill them all." The young man sneered. Suddenly, a terrifying black shadow appeared in his Ghost Tao world. The black shadow wore ancient black battle armor and held a black spear. It seemed that this was the leader of the 100 ghosts. Behind him, there were 99 extremely terrifying evil ghosts. The small ones were the size of a palm, and the big ones were the size of mountains. Each of them was incomparably ferocious. When the 100 ghosts attacked, they could bite everything to pieces. Even a saint's scalp would go numb. As expected, the Vermilion Bird Palace people's expressions changed. On the stone platform, the 12 prodigies looked as if they were facing a great enemy. However, it was not over. This time, the 2 saints joined forces. Another saint, who looked like a middle-aged man, also attacked. This person comprehended the Ice Tao laws. His 4 domains also enveloped Lin Xian. Their domains overlapped. Monstrous ice erupted, freezing the demon chi around Lin Xian. The 2 vortexes of the law of water also froze into ice sculptures. Lin Xian's body was frozen. "Great, white ghoul, kill them all." The other sage's avatar laughed sinisterly. When the 2 sages' avatars joined forces, it was truly terrifying to the extreme. Not good. That person is in danger. Yes, he was too arrogant. He had underestimated the saint's clone. If it was just one attack, he might be able to block it easily. However, if 2 were added together, it would not be as simple as 1 + 1. It would definitely exceed his imagination. This person was probably going to be killed. An expert in the distance spoke. A cold smile appeared on Yen Nanshan's face. That was good too. It saved him the trouble of making a move. The northern monster became nervous. Yen Ryu frowned. However, at this moment, a cold voice came from the 2 sanctuary realm in front. Is that all you've got? What a disappointment. Boom, boom, boom. Following his voice, the 9 heavens and 10 earths shook. The 2 sanctuary realm also shook. An extremely terrifying and low voice sounded. Then, boundless flames burned fiercely. Lin Xian's body shone with a boundless light. Then, the 2 sages' avatars were sent flying. Their sanctuary realm was broken. White Ghoul's night parade and Ice World were all shattered. The 2 of them fell to the ground and vomited blood. Their faces were filled with fear. How was this possible? How could the other party be so powerful? As for the others, their expressions all changed. What was that? Oh heavens! Why was there a golden light? Wasn't that Demon Chi? They were all stunned. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace also frowned. Yen Nanshan's pupils shrank. Could it be him? He stared straight ahead. His eyes were like divine blades that could cut through everything. The sanctuary realm in front of them was broken. A figure soared into the sky. The demon Chi on his body disappeared. The golden light was like the sun. It scattered down, shining so brightly that everyone could not open their eyes. I've said it before. A mere sage's avatar is not enough. You are not my match at all. Lin Xian's sonorous voice sounded. The 2 sages' avatars trembled in anger, but there was nothing they could do. However, Yen Nanshan's expression changed drastically. He screamed, "It's you? Damn it, you're not dead." He looked as if he had seen a ghost. To be honest, he was too shocked. If the person in front of him was really the great demon, he would not be too shocked. After all, the great demon was too terrifying. But now it was not the great demon, but the great demon's sworn enemy, the successor of the 9 sons. How could he not be dead? If the great demon was dead, how did he survive? That's right, it's me. Yen Nantian, are you disappointed? Are you surprised? Do you think that if the great demon is dead, I will die with him? You dare to kill with a borrowed knife? You will definitely die today. Lin Xian's voice resounded through the world. At this moment, the experts on the 12 stone platforms, as well as the surrounding spectators, were all stunned. Heavens, who is this person? Soon, they learned from Vermilion Bird Palace, the successor of the 9 sons. It's him. What? The successor of the 9 sons? Didn't he die with him? Heavens, he did not die, and even obtained the great demon's weapon. He had fought with the great demon before, so it was probably not difficult for him to transform into the great demon's appearance. Everyone understood why the demonic aura was so overwhelming. Why did he have the great spear of destruction? Why did he have to kill Yen Nantian? It turned out that the other party was not the great demon, but the successor of the 9 sons. And from the looks of it, the great demon seemed to be in cahoots with Yen Nantian. That was why the successor of the 9 sons wanted to kill Yen Nantian. Damn it, kill him. We have to kill him later. Vermilion Bird Palace's palace lord sent a voice transmission. The 2 sages' eyes were cold, but they did not immediately take action. If they took action now, and the news spread, they would probably be under a lot of pressure. After all, the successor of the 9 sons could not be alone. There was a faction behind him. However, if Yen Nantian killed him, then even if the faction behind the successor of the 9 sons found out, there was nothing they could do. It was normal for geniuses to die in a battle. I'm really surprised that you're still alive. But so what? Since the great demon can't kill you, then I'll kill you myself. Yen Nantian rose to his feet. The illusions of the 4 godly beasts carried him and floated forward. At this moment, the geniuses on the 20 platforms also retreated frantically. They had completely left the battlefield and arrived near the spectators. They knew that an earth-shattering battle of life and death was coming. It would probably surpass everything. It was actually him. Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang trembled. They finally knew why they couldn't defeat the other party. It was the successor of the 9 sons. Chapter 33:29. Damn it, successor of the 9 sons. The 3 sage clones gritted their teeth. It seemed that after this battle, they had to send out their true bodies. After all, everyone wanted the great spear of destruction. Kill. An angry roar pierced through heaven and earth. Lin Xian's body shone with a golden light as if he was a golden god of war. The great spear of destruction in his hand was pitch black. As he danced, he charged forward. This scene was extremely shocking. It was as if an Emperor Golden Immortal King was fighting with a black dragon. This scene was something that these people would never forget for the rest of their lives. Boom. On the other side, Yan Nantian also made his move. The 4 divine beasts became more and more corporeal, as if they had been revived, and circled around him. A terrifying aura swept through heaven and earth. That power caused everyone to tremble. Boom. The great spear of destruction transformed into a black dragon and rushed over, shaking the 9 heavens. At this moment, Lin Xian's strength was unparalleled. Fortunately, this was the primordial battlefield. Otherwise, they would have fallen long ago. Damn it. How could he be so strong? The people in the distance retreated once again and completely left the battlefield. They still had lingering fear in their hearts. The 3 sage clones also had ugly expressions. They did not expect that the other party had not used his full strength when fighting with them. Now the other party's aura was even stronger than before. Was this the successor of the 9 sons? It was too terrifying. They felt that the successor of the 9 sons in front of them had surpassed the past. Indeed, the sage of the Vermilion Bird Palace frowned. The others were also discussing intensely. Although the successor of the 9 sons was strong and had one of the strongest physiques in the universe, he was not the strongest. There were many who could compete with the successor of the 9 sons, such as his old enemy, the Great Demon. In many previous battles, the Great Demon had suppressed the 9 sons' bloodline. Therefore, in the eyes of everyone, the successor of the 9 sons was not an invincible existence. If they wanted to kill him, the Great Demon clan could do it. But now, the successor of the 9 sons in front of them had shocked everyone. He had killed the Great Demon and obtained the Great Demon's weapon. Now his combat strength was even more shocking. He had even defeated the successor of a great emperor. He was too strong. He was so strong that they found it unbelievable. Boom, boom. In front, the 4 divine beasts attacked, trying to surround the great spear of destruction. The great spear of destruction danced crazily, bringing with it an incomparable murderous aura. Blood burst out from it. There were even all kinds of illusions. Those were the corpses of saints. It was rumored that the spear of great destruction was stained with the blood of saints. This illusion really made one's scalp tingle. Puff! The azure dragon and vermilion bird phantoms were pierced through, and the white tiger phantoms were knocked back. Only the black tortoise phantoms were able to withstand the attack with its powerful defense. The 4 illusions retreated. Yan Nanshan's expression changed. His opponent's aura had become even stronger than it had been in the valley. The 4 divine beast phantoms were no match for him at all. Yan Nantian, show me your true strength. This time, I won't let you off. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as the golden glow on his body became even more piercingly cold. 9 sons' sword technique. Lin Xian used the spear as a sword and quickly danced. Rays of 9 suns sword chi rushed out from the great spear of destruction. The 9 suns sword technique was a sword technique of extreme yang. It destroyed everything. The entire ancient battlefield was enveloped by the golden sword chi. This aura made everyone feel despair. Even the 2 vermilion bird saints had grave expressions on their faces. True strength? Fine, I'll let you see it, Yen Nantian roared. In addition to the 4 divine beast phantoms, 9 more emperor runes appeared beside him. Each of them was incomparably terrifying and connected to heaven and earth. The runes of the earth appeared. The people in the distance exclaimed. The 3 saint clones' eyes were burning with passion. Even the vermilion bird palace's saints' eyes were shining. Shur stared at the runes, wanting to see through the mysteries within. The 2 of them clashed like 2 immortal kings. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions on the ancient battlefield. At this moment, everyone was in a daze. It was as if they had returned to the ancient era. The 2 geniuses in front of them had turned into primordial god-fiends. Such an intense battle was like a dream. Perhaps even the powerhouses of the ancient era were no match for them. Boom, boom, boom. After more than 1 million collisions, Yan Nanshan's body trembled. His expression was gloomy, and the blood in his body kept churning, as if it wanted to rush out. He was about to go crazy. He was being suppressed by his opponent. How was this possible? The great spear of destruction. It must be the great spear of destruction. Do you think I don't have anything to subdue you? Saint Chariot. With an angry roar, a Saint Chariot rushed out of his body. It was a true sage artifact. As soon as it appeared, it brought with it a powerful divine might that suppressed the surroundings. Kill him. After using the sage artifact, Yen Nanshan's strength increased exponentially. He once again clashed with the great spear of destruction. The 2 of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Not long after, Yen Nanshan's expression turned ugly again. Damn it, he still couldn't beat his opponent. Now, the weapon's enhancement had been cancelled out. Could it be that his opponent was really stronger than him? How was that possible? He was the successor of a great emperor. No matter how strong his opponent was, so what? No successor of the 9 sons had ever become a great emperor. At their strongest, they were only great sages. How could that kind of inheritance be compared to a true great emperor's inheritance? Was he weaker than his opponent? How was that possible? Yen Nantian was so powerful, and his talent was terrifying. He thought that he was definitely not weaker than his opponent. What was that? The great dragon sword soul? Only then did he remember that his opponent was not only the successor of the 9 sons, but also the successor of the great dragon. The successor of the great dragon had a precedent of becoming a great emperor. That was because the first successor of the great dragon, Shiman the Great, was very powerful. However, after Shiman the Great, the other successors of the great dragon could not become great emperors, not to mention this generation. He did not believe that the great dragon sword soul contained any great emperor's inheritance because there had never been such a legend. Damn it, I'm the successor of a great emperor. I'm destined to become a great emperor in the future. I'm invincible. I won't fail. Go to hell. Yen Nantian roared crazily. Lightning god's physique. The 9 suns and countless lightning interweaved, causing Yen Nantian to transform into the thunder god's body. The powerful lightning body pierced through the 9 heavens. Those who were watching from afar were extremely envious. Heavens, the thunder god's body was not weaker than the 9 suns' divine body. It was forcefully evolved from a divine ability. Probably only a great emperor's divine ability could do that. It was really a creation of heaven and earth, sun and moon splitting the sky. After displaying the thunder god's body, Yen Nantian raised his hands high. Immediately, runes soared into the sky, blooming with incomparable light. They turned into 9 suns and moons, rotating in the sky. Coupled with the great emperor's divine ability, it was extremely powerful at this moment. It was much more powerful than the power in the valley previously. Even Lin Xian was forced to retreat quickly. That power was enough to shock him. Chapter 33:30. Lin Xian retreated, but he didn't stop attacking. He unleashed his nomological mystique, the destructive fiery lotus. A huge lotus flower flew forward. With an aura that could destroy everything, the two collided. The sun and moon split open the sky, and the 9 suns quickly dimmed and then collapsed. The destructive fire lotus also dissipated in this energy. After that, the two retreated. Damn it, I don't believe it. Yan Nantian roared like a madman, but Lin Xian sneered. If I can kill you once, I can kill you again. Let's see how many Emperor regeneration talismans you have. He held the spear of destruction and rushed out quickly. The dragon sword soul roared and rushed out of Lin Xian's body, fusing with the spear of destruction. Instantly, the power of the murderous weapon increased to an unparalleled level. At this moment, even the saint's expressions changed. Not good. Yanantian is in danger. A Vermilion Bird Palace saint frowned, and the Vermilion Bird Palace elders also had ugly expressions. Yan Nanshan's pupils shrank. He naturally felt the threat. Last time, he was almost killed by the other party. If not for the Emperor regeneration talisman, he would still be seriously injured. Now that he was facing the same situation again, could he withstand it? Yan Nantian snorted coldly. Kid, I was careless when you ambushed me last time and didn't use my full strength. Don't even think about hurting me this time. He pushed the saint chariot to the limit. The chariot became huge and completely enveloped him. This was a saint artifact, and it could definitely protect him. With a wave of his hand, the 9 emperor runes reappeared beside him. Sky-destroying finger. Endless laws turned into divine chains, circling around Yan Nanshan's finger, forming a finger that reached the sky and fell from the sky. When the finger fell, the bodies of the surrounding people were about to split open. Not good. Retreat quickly. Those people screamed crazily. This move was too terrifying. The Vermilion Bird Palace elders also split open, and blood gushed out. Even the Vermilion Bird Palace master's expression changed. However, at this moment, the 2 saints of Vermilion Bird Palace opened their saint domains, blocking the terrifying energy waves. Only then did the people of Vermilion Bird Palace calm down. The surrounding people all hid behind the sacred domain. This Yanantian was too powerful. The 3 saint avatars had solemn expressions on their faces. Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang had ugly expressions on their faces. They were no match for him at all. 9 suns opened the sky. Lin Xian brandished the Great Destruction Spear and unleashed a world-shaking sword technique. Yin Yang Locket, the heaven-destroying finger, was pierced through by the Great Spear of Destruction. Yan Nantian once again used a powerful divine ability. At this time, Lin Xian had just finished using his ultimate move. His body was completely exhausted, and the energy he had gathered was unable to completely surge out. Therefore, Yan Nantian seized the opportunity. Between heaven and earth, the nomological fragments danced, forming 2 black and white divine ropes that instantly enveloped Lin Xian. With a crack that sounded like a clap of thunder, the black-white divine locked Lin Xian in the air. In an instant, it was as if he had been fixed in place, unable to move at all. The power in his body had been completely sealed. What was going on? Everyone exclaimed. Yan Ryu also frowned. She felt that this divine ability was too terrifying. Some of the older generation figures screamed. The Yin Yang Lock. Oh heavens, isn't this the legendary divine ability? Rumor had it that once the yin-yang lock was used, it could seal all things in the world. Even a saint could not escape. That kid was unlucky. What? So powerful. Many people gasped when they heard that. There were also experts who were like living fossils whose eyes flickered. I finally know which great emperor's inheritance Yen Nantian obtained. The heaven-destroying finger, the yin-yang lock. These were the inheritances of great Emperor Hongwu. Great Emperor Hongwu, the great emperor who pacified the Eight Desolates? Everyone screamed. Great Emperor Hongwu was a very famous great emperor. When he became a great emperor, the myriad worlds were ruled by the dark demonic beasts. Back then, he rose to power and defeated the dark demonic beasts, regaining control of the myriad worlds. It could be said that he was extremely powerful. Who would have thought that his inheritance would be obtained by Yen Nantian? The successor of the Nine Sons was really in danger. He definitely could not escape from the yin-yang lock. Not to mention that he was only a half-sage. Even a true saint would not be able to escape from the yin-yang lock. Sighs could be heard. Everyone fell silent. Yen Ryu frowned. The northern demon was also very nervous. Should we make a move? He asked. Yen Ryu shook his head and looked again. In the crowd, the Crimson Dragon was also anxious. He gritted his teeth. That damn kid, he should be fine. He was not too sure because the yin-yang lock was too famous. The yin-yang lock? Lin Xian was sealed in midair. He looked at the black-white divine lock on his body, which was like a suit of armor tightly covering his entire body. At the same time, it sealed the power in his body. He felt that he could not use any power at all. Lin Xian's body shook, trying to break the yin-yang lock. However, after trying for a long time, the yin-yang lock did not move at all. It's useless. Stop struggling. Even if you're a saint, you can't break free. I'll get rid of you now. Yen Nantian drove the saint chariot over quickly. Boom. In an instant, Lin Xian was sent flying. Boom. Boom. The ground trembled. Lin Xian was knocked down, blood splattering everywhere. It was a saint artifact. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian vomited blood, and cracks appeared on his body. Those people were stunned. After being knocked down like that, a half-saint would definitely be turned into ashes. Even a saint would probably be smashed into pieces. However, this kid's body only had cracks. Not good. Yen Ryu screamed. The Crimson Dragon almost activated the array, but they held back. Lin Xian stood up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Break for me. He tried to use the nine-yang body again, but he still could not break it. The yin-yang lock was indeed a Thearcha's ultimate skill. It was really amazing. It suppressed all of Lin Xian's power. Even Lin Xian felt that the power of the great dragon sword spirit was also suppressed. Damn it, he was too careless. He did not expect Yen Nantian to have such an ultimate skill. If he knew about the yin-yang lock, he would have saved some energy to keep an eye on him, to prevent him from using it. However, he did not know that at all. Therefore, after shattering the heaven-destroying finger, he was locked down by the yin-yang lock. It's useless. I said stop struggling. Yen Nantian drove the saint chariot over again. The saint chariot was absolutely terrifying. With a single strike, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. A huge crack appeared on the ancient battlefield. Lin Xian was smashed into a deep pit. Buzz. Yen Nantian rode the saint chariot. His body was surrounded by 9 arch runes and the phantoms of 4 divine beasts. He was like a celestial arch as he rushed over. He arrived in front of Lin Xian. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the great destruction spear. Then he forcefully snatched it. Lin Xian was now locked down by the yin-yang lock and had no power at all. Therefore, he was directly taken away. Blood flowed from his palm. Yen Nantian laughed at the sky. Chapter 33-31. Ha ha ha. Is the successor of the 9 sons very powerful? What can you use to fight me now? Yen Nantion held the great spear of destruction in his hand, and his aura erupted endlessly. Everyone trembled. He was too powerful. This was the successor of a great emperor, far surpassing the successor of the 9 sons. Even a true saint would not be able to survive in his hands. Is that so? I haven't lost yet. Lin Xian stood up and said in a sonorous voice, Haven't lost yet? Go to hell. Yen Nantion stopped laughing and flew out. The great spear of destruction instantly transformed into a poisonous dragon and stabbed towards Lin Xian. With a puchi, he pierced through Lin Xian's body. Then he raised Lin Xian high into the air. Lin Xian's blood flowed wildly. Golden blood dripped into the void, shattering everything. It turned into a golden sea of blood. Now, do you still dare to say that you haven't lost? You're already in the air. I can kill you at any time. But don't worry, I'll torture you to death bit by bit. I want to find out your secrets. Yen Nantion revealed a demonic smile. He naturally knew that Lin Xian had many secrets. Moreover, he was extremely tempted. If he could get them out, he would cultivate. By then, no one in the universe would be his match. Oh no! Yen Ruyu's expression changed when the northern demon approached. The crimson dragon gritted his teeth, and a cold, killing intent appeared in his eyes. He could not help but want to make a move. The snow-white monkey was also so angry that he scratched his ears and cheeks. He even moved his little claws and was about to transform. However, at that moment, Lin Xian's voice floated out and resounded in everyone's ears. I told you I haven't lost yet. Hearing that, Yen Nantion sneered. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace were also disdainful. You haven't lost yet? Who are you kidding? However, they were soon stunned because they realized that a mysterious aura had appeared on Lin Xian's body. Then, the world changed drastically. In the sky, endless thunderclouds enveloped the primordial battlefield. That aura made even the saint's hair stand on end. Needless to say, the others were so scared that their bodies trembled. Some were about to pass out. Heaven's lightning tribulation. Was he going to transcend the tribulation? Could it be that he was about to break through? No, it wasn't Yen Nantion. It was the successor of the 9 sons. What? Those experts screamed. This was a sage tribulation. Was he going to break through and become a sage? Damn it, you want to break through? You want to break through to become a saint? To turn defeat into victory? Yen Nantion's expression also changed. This was truly a difficult enemy to deal with. The slightest carelessness would cause the other party to turn the tables. But you won't have the chance. I'll seal you away completely. The 9 monarch patterns around him floated out and hovered around Lin Xian, connecting with each other. Countless bolts of lightning interweaved, forming a starry diagram. Yin-Yang heaven-sealing formation. With the Yin-Yang locket as the center and the 9 monarch inscriptions as support, they could form a peerless formation. Rumor had it that the Hongwu Great Emperor had used the Yin-Yang heaven-sealing array to seal off the endless void, sealing countless experts in the universe. It could be said to be terrifying to the extreme. Although Yen Nantion was only a half-saint, with his means and the Yin-Yang heaven-sealing array, it would not be a problem for him to seal a sage, let alone Lin Xian. However, he had underestimated Lin Xian. Lin Xian had been through hundreds of battles and narrowly escaped death. His experience was extremely rich. Therefore, the speed at which he detonated the heavenly tribulation was extremely fast. Yen Nantion's Yin-Yang heaven-sealing array had just been formed when the sage tribulation had already descended. It directly struck Lin Xian's body, causing Lin Xian to grimace in pain. This was a sage tribulation. It was extremely terrifying. If one was not careful, even a sage would die. Moreover, Lin Xian's sage tribulation was not an ordinary one. It varied according to one's strength. Lin Xian was the successor of the 9 sons and the successor of the great dragon. He even had the mysterious heavenly secret godly eyes. How could his sage tribulation be weak? It was definitely extremely powerful. Therefore, in this round, he did not use any divine abilities to resist. He could only rely on the strength of his physical body. For a moment, the 9 sons' divine body was charred black. Yen Nantian was also affected. The 4 divine beast phantoms on his body rotated, and a crack appeared on them. Damn it, why was this lightning tribulation so terrifying? Yen Nantian frowned. The surrounding people were even more frightened. The terrifying scene of divine lightning filling the sky made people tremble. They had never seen such a terrifying arena. Even the 3 sage clones and the 2 vermilion bird palace sages were stunned. However, in this situation, they did not dare to act rashly. The 2 sages hesitated. If they attracted fire and the lightning tribulation struck them, it would probably be a disaster for them. Because if they attacked during the tribulation with their strength and aura, they would probably attract an even more terrifying heavenly tribulation. At that time, they would definitely be reduced to ashes. For a moment, everyone left the primordial battlefield. Yen Nantian also wanted to leave. He did not want to be struck by lightning for no reason. Moreover, it was a special kind of lightning tribulation. However, he could no longer leave because he was too close to Lin Xian. At this moment, he was holding the great destruction spear in one hand, and Lin Xian's blood had already dripped onto his hand. Therefore, in an instant, he was also enveloped by the lightning tribulation. Damn it! Yen Nantian instantly stopped and pulled back the great destruction spear. However, the great destruction spear was caught by Lin Xian's body. He had no choice but to give up and leave first. After the lightning tribulation, he would come back to snatch the great destruction spear and Lin Xian's corpse. Do you want to leave? Can you leave? Although Lin Xian had everything sealed. Even if his divine body was sealed, his pure physical strength was incomparably terrifying. Yen Nantian had just moved when Lin Xian caught up to him. At this moment, the sage tribulation had already completely descended. Endless lightning turned into a sea of lightning, and each bolt was as big as a mountain. They carried an extremely terrifying aura of destruction. The sage tribulation had erupted. Lin Xian's voice rang out. Golden blood splattered in all directions. At the same time, Yen Nantian's crazy roar could be heard. Damn it! Get out of my way! It was obvious that he had also suffered a violent impact. In the distance, everyone looked at this scene and felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. The successor of the 9 sons was actually undergoing the tribulation at this time. This was not good. If he could survive the sage tribulation and become a sage, the situation would be reversed. Everyone was discussing. The Vermilion Bird Palace elders, palace masters, and sages all had extremely ugly expressions. However, they could only wait now. Yen Ruyu and the North Demon heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Lin Xian was indeed strong enough to be able to turn the tables under the yin-yang locket. The Crimson Dragon had a worried look on his face. Damn, is this kid really going to break through? Don't play too big. He did not believe that Lin Xian would break through to become a sage at this time. He knew that Lin Xian was extremely ambitious. He wanted to condense the 5 elemental laws. How could he only break through the fire laws? Chapter 33-32. His guess was right. Lin Xian wasn't trying to break through. Instead, he wanted to use the power of the sage tribulation to break the yin-yang locket on him. The yin-yang locket was very powerful. It was a great emperor's mystique. Most importantly, it could seal and suppress everything, making Lin Xian powerless. With his own power sealed, he could only rely on external forces. The most powerful external force was the heavenly tribulation. It was a sage's heavenly tribulation. When the endless lightning spread and wrapped around him and Yen Nantian, Lin Xian smiled. The monstrous lightning was very terrifying. It directly penetrated his body. Not only him, but Yen Nantian's body was also full of holes. He screamed in pain. Golden blood flowed out of Lin Xian's body. It was a shocking sight, but he was smiling because he felt the yin-yang locket on his body tremble. Some cracks had appeared on it. It wouldn't be long before it completely shattered. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian's body was getting more and more damaged. He was basically unrecognizable. At this moment, there was a cracking sound. The yin-yang locket had completely shattered. Success. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a sharp light. The power in his body surged out like a tsunami. In the next moment, he immediately stopped breaking through. He used the great dragon sword soul as an array to seal the power that wanted to break through again. Then he used his mystique and nirvana rebirth. Boom, boom, boom. The heavenly tribulation between heaven and earth seemed to have lost its target, so it gradually dissipated. In the distance, everyone was terrified. At the same time, they were very confused. What was going on? Why did the heavenly tribulation disappear? Could it be that he had become a sage? That couldn't be right. The few sage clones and the 2 sages from Vermilion Bird Palace frowned. They had passed the heavenly tribulation. It couldn't have happened in such a short time. Moreover, the heavenly tribulation just now was so terrifying. It was much more terrifying than theirs. How could such a heavenly tribulation disappear just like that? But soon, they realized that the heavenly tribulation had really disappeared. However, there was a golden sea in front of them. Inside, there was a golden silhouette that was being reborn from the flames. It was the successor of the 9 suns. Everyone screamed. Yen Ryu Crimson Dragon, and the others breathed a sigh of relief. Not good, that guy actually didn't die, and his recovery ability was actually so strong. The faces of the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace changed. Where was Yen Nantian? They quickly began to search, and soon found Yen Nantian off in the distance. His imperial tattoos were still swirling around him, and he was rapidly absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. However, that speed was still slower than rising from the ashes. Therefore, Lin Xian recovered in an instant. The spear of great destruction was seized by him, and he charged forward. With a loud boom, Yen Nantian's body, which had yet to fully recover, was pierced through and shattered into pieces. What? Had Yen Nantian been split open? These people were all crazy. Their minds were a little blank because the changes in the situation were too strange. Just a moment ago, Yen Nantian had picked on Lin Xian, making it impossible for Lin Xian to resist. But in the blink of an eye, Lin Xian displayed a domineering attitude. Rising from the ashes, he beat Yen Nantian into pieces. This scene was like a dream. It was unbelievable. After shattering Yen Nantian's body, Lin Xian once again waved the Great Destruction Spear and used it. In an instant, the power of annihilation surged out. Under the support of the Great Destruction Spear and the Great Dragon Sword Soul, it was extremely powerful. Therefore, Yen Nantian's shattered body began to rapidly dissipate. Even his flesh and blood disappeared. What kind of power was this? It was so terrifying. When everyone saw the black light of the laws and the disappearing flesh and blood, they all gasped and felt their bodies turn cold. Yen Nantian also screamed in fright. It was this power again. Last time, he was almost destroyed by this power. He didn't expect to encounter the same situation again. Damn it, the yin-yang locket was broken by the other party. It was really unbelievable. Escape. Yen Nantian summoned the 9 imperial tattoos. They bloomed with light and enveloped him. He escaped into the void, trying to dodge this attack. Great emperors had endless means and were incomparably mysterious. If it was a sage facing Yen Nantian, he might really be able to escape. However, Lin Xian wouldn't. Lin Xian merged the great dragon sword soul into the great destruction spear. With a sword, he could cut through mountains and rivers. The power of the great dragon sword soul destroyed everything. The void was cut open and Yen Nantian was deeply shaken out. Like I said, you can't escape. A loud and clear dragon roar resounded in the world, resounding throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Kill. The terrifying dragon roar, mixed with the black light, swept forward. Yen Nantian was once again attacked. Damn it. Yen Nantian's face was incomparably ugly. He was severely injured in the lightning tribulation and had yet to fully recover. Then he was torn apart by Lin Xian. Now, he was being chased by Lin Xian. He couldn't recover to his peak. Even though Lin Xian was injured earlier, his aura was even more terrifying than before due to the rebirth of desire. Sky-destroying finger, steel of sun and moon. Yen Nantian used the sky-destroying finger with his left hand and formed a seal with his right hand. Above it, the sun, moon, and stars revolved as if a heavenly monument was suppressing. The 2 peerless Abhijnas charged toward Lin Xian at high speed. Destruction, fiery lotus, 9 suns opening sky. Lin Xian also used his divine ability. The terrifying sword technique swept across heaven and earth. The 4 divine abilities collided in the sky, erupting with dazzling light that swallowed everything. At this moment, Yen Nantian smiled. He formed another seal with his palm, and an unparalleled aura burst out from his eyes. Yin-yang locket. Between heaven and earth, the yin and yang qi flickered and turned into 2 divine locks that quickly shrouded Lin Xian. As long as the yin-yang locket succeeded, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to use any divine abilities no matter how powerful they were. Oh no, it's the yin-yang locket again. Lin Xian was probably infected. Yes, could he attract another heavenly tribulation? Everyone exclaimed. Yen Ryu and the Crimson Dragon were extremely nervous. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace laughed. They knew that Yen Nantian wouldn't lose. The yin-yang locket was very strange. In an instant, it appeared in front of Lin Xian out of thin air, wanting to seal him completely. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You're too naive. Do you think I won't be prepared this time? Buzz. The fragments of the law of earth revolved around his body, forming 2 large stone palms. Each of them was like a huge mountain that pushed forward forcefully. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of an intense collision shook the 9 heavens. The light that filled the sky made people tremble. It was like a demonic light that could destroy the world. The yin-yang locket was very terrifying. Ordinary law fragments couldn't break it at all. Therefore, the 2 stone beasts only lasted for a moment before they were pierced by the yin-yang locket. However, this short moment was more than enough for Lin Xian. His body soared into the air like a giant dragon soaring upwards. Chapter 33:33. The great spear of destruction in his hand moved, erupting with dazzling light. It turned into a fiery lotus, enveloping yin and yang. Boom. The yin-yang locket was shattered by this destructive force. Was it dodged? Countless cries of surprise rang out. The expressions of the people from Vermilion Bird Palace changed. Yen Nantian's heart sank. Damn it, his opponent actually dodged his attack. To be honest, although he didn't want to admit it, if he couldn't lock down the other party's strength, he seemed to be unable to defeat the other party. The great emperor's mystiques were extremely powerful. In the past, he could easily kill his opponent with just one of them. Regardless of whether it was the thunder god's physique, the sun and moon splitting the heavens, or this finger of extermination, they could basically destroy the enemy with ease. Even against a saint, 2 or 3 of them would be enough to deal with him. Now, he had basically used everything he could. There were still some exceptional superpowers that he could not use because his cultivation was not high enough. That was something he was prepared to cultivate after breaking through to the saint realm. It seemed that he could only fight to the death. Hongwu opened the heavens, and Zhang Xian returned. The aura on Yan Nanshan's body exploded to an unbelievable degree. The 9 monarch marks revolved around his finger as he pointed forward. This finger was not aimed at Lin Xian, but flew towards the 9 heavens. Boom! In an instant, a huge hole was pierced in the sky. It was pitch black and seemed to be connected to the outer universe. Everyone could see the faint, twinkling starlight inside the pitch-black hole. At that moment, the 9 great emperor runes were floating in the black hole. They were bobbing up and down like 9 stars. They were shining with dazzling light. Below him, Yan Nantian continued to form hand seals. The 9 monarch marks above him rotated rapidly, forming a marvelous star map. The star atlas rolled and shone brightly, forming a strange Tao pattern. A terrifying and vast aura was emitted from it. As soon as this aura appeared, all living beings in the 9 heavens and 10 earths trembled. Below, countless people were pressed to the ground, their bodies trembling. Long Zhaotian, Zhao Wuliang, and the others were the same. They resisted with all their might, but many cracks appeared on their bodies. The 3 saints' avatars screamed crazily as they hurriedly opened their sacred domains to defend themselves. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace were also heavily injured. Those elders couldn't hold on at all. The 2 saints' expressions changed drastically. He opened up his saint domain like a madman and said, "If you don't want to die, get out of here." Everyone retreated madly. 10 million miles, 20 million miles, all the way until they were 50 million miles away. Only then did they stop. However, even with that being the case, that frightening aura still caused their bodies to turn ice cold. What's going on up ahead? This place was already somewhat blurry, but how powerful were the 2 great sages? Using the array, they immediately projected the scene in front of them. Everyone raised their heads and looked at the sky, only to see the star map churning with a powerful force. Even Lin Xian reacted as if he was facing a great enemy and quickly retreated. He placed the spear of great destruction in front of him, and the terrifying sword Qi formed a lotus flower that enveloped him. On the other side, Yan Nantian was not in a good state either. His body was also cracked, and he even spat out blood. Clearly, it was still too much for him to use this ability at the moment. Although it's a bit exhausting, you're dead for sure, kid. I don't believe you can survive this attack. Yan Nanshan's cold voice was heard, and he laughed. At the same time, the expressions of the people in the distance changed. Even Lin Xian's pupils constricted, because he realized that something had appeared in the star map above. It was the shadow of a pagoda. It was very blurry, and only the shape of a pagoda could be seen. However, the aura emitted from it was too terrifying. Is it the desolate pagoda? Lin Xian was extremely shocked because he felt as if he was facing the desolate pagoda of the Jade Lake sacred ground. However, the desolate pagoda was an extreme weapon. Damn it, could it be that Yan Nantian has an extreme weapon? Sure enough, the 3 sage clones in the distance screamed crazily. This aura had surpassed a sage weapon. It's an extreme weapon. Damn it, does Yan Nantian have the emperor weapon of Emperor Hongwu? What? Emperor Hongwu's extreme weapon? Rumor had it that Emperor Hongwu had a terrifying extreme weapon, the hidden immortal pagoda. Could it be that the pagoda was the hidden immortal pagoda? When these words came out, everyone was stunned. An extreme weapon was the most powerful weapon in the universe. It was the exclusive weapon of a great emperor. Even if a great emperor died, an extreme weapon would not disappear. Some extreme sage truths had extreme weapons, but they did not expect it to be in Yan Nanshan's hands. Everyone swallowed their saliva, and some even wanted to run away. Once an extreme weapon was used, it could definitely pierce through this world. If it was stronger, it could destroy the entire Suzaka planet and turn everything on it into ashes. No one doubted it. Damn it. Do we really have to let that guy turn the tables? The Crimson Dragon clenched his teeth in anger. Although he had been comprehending the heaven puzzle and had set up a peerless formation around him, it was impossible to use such a formation to resist an extreme weapon. However, one person only frowned and then sneered. An extreme weapon? However, it was not a real extreme weapon. It was just an illusion formed by a wisp of aura summoned from the starry sky of the universe. The one who spoke was Yen Ruyu. At this moment, her body was emitting a mysterious green light. There seemed to be a terrifying force in her body that was about to erupt. However, it was being controlled by Yen Ruyu. As soon as she said that, everyone around her was stunned, especially the 2 sages and the 3 sages' clones. They all cried out in surprise. It was not a real extreme weapon, but an illusion that was summoned. They carefully sensed it and then screamed. It was indeed the case. This news caused a huge commotion. It seemed that the hidden divine pagoda was not in Yan Nanshan's hands, but in a corner of the universe. At this moment, Yan Nantian used Great Emperor Hongwu's peerless spell to summon the extreme weapon in the corner of the universe, thus creating an illusion. However, even if it was just an illusion, it was still extremely terrifying, because the 3 sages and the 2 sages were facing a powerful enemy. Even if they faced it, they would not be able to stop it. They could only run away like crazy. An illusion? Lin Xian's eyes flashed with golden light. He naturally saw that the blurry pagoda was not a real weapon. Kid, don't be arrogant. Even if it's the illusion of an extreme weapon, it's not something you can stop. So, you can die now. Yan Nanshan's hands suddenly moved downward. More cracks appeared on his body, but he did not care. He revealed a hideous smile. In the sky, the illusion of the immortal burying pagoda suddenly descended from the star map. Chapter 33-34. This attack was too terrifying. The entire ancient battlefield trembled violently, and many large cracks appeared on it. One could imagine how terrifying the surrounding force was. Lin Xian's sword Qi Lotus instantly shattered. Lin Xian also kept retreating. He felt great danger. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body was suppressed, and even cracks appeared on his body. Golden blood once again floated out. So terrifying. This should be your final trump card. Lin Xian saw Yan Nantian spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. He knew that Yan Nantian must have used a peerless divine ability by force. Thinking about it, this should be the strongest divine ability that Yan Nantian could use at the moment. Thinking of this, he let out a roar. So what if it was the illusion of an extreme weapon? He had fought against a true extreme weapon before. Hidden immortal pagoda. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing cold light. Then, the dragon sword's spirit flew out from the great destruction spear and quickly condensed in front of him. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a roar as he sucked in all of the formless energy from all directions into his mouth and infused it into the great dragon sword soul. The light on the dragon sword spirit became even more terrifying. It was incomparable. A loud dragon roar shook the 9 heavens. At this moment, the dragon sword spirit's appearance was also changing. It also turned into the shape of a pagoda. It was incomparably exquisite, and there was even rust on it. However, the aura it emitted was also extremely terrifying. What is this? After the dragon sword spirit transformed into a pagoda. The aura immediately swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The martial artists watching from afar changed their expressions again. They felt as if their hearts were about to be crushed. Impossible. Could it be that this guy also has the illusion of an extreme weapon? They were all stunned. However, the northern monster, Yen Ruyu, and the others all cried out in alarm. The reason for that was because they recognized what Lin Xian had transformed into, the ancient Desolation Pagoda. This was the extreme weapon of the Jade Lake sacred ground, the ancient Desolation Pagoda. As expected, Yen Nantian also recognized it. The ancient Desolation Pagoda? You think you can transform it into the ancient Desolation Pagoda? Can it be compared to my hidden immortal pagoda? You're overestimating yourself. Let me tell you how terrifying an extreme weapon is. Yen Nantian roared. Everyone heard it. What the successor of the 9 suns had conjured was also an extreme weapon. Before they could figure it out, a shocking collision occurred in front of them. The hidden immortal pagoda and the desolate pagoda, the two illusions clashed together. The 9 heavens and 10 earths were collapsing. The immemorial battlefield immediately cracked open. Lin Xian and Yen Nantian were also sent flying backwards, engulfed by the torrent of energy. Retreat quickly. After retreating 50 million miles away, the crowd retreated again until they were 80 million miles away. Only then did he look ahead. They waited for about a day, but the energy in front of them still hadn't dissipated. It was still chaotic. No one dared to approach him. Even the saints could not see through him. It was only at this moment that they began to wonder why the successor of the 9 suns was able to conjure the ancient desolate pagoda. Furthermore, that power was so terrifying. Could it be that the divine dragon behind the successor of the 9 suns also had a powerful weapon? Thinking of this, everyone was shocked. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace had extremely ugly expressions. After waiting for another 3 days, the violent energy in front of them slowly dissipated. In front of them, the sounds of intense fighting could be heard. Lin Xian and Yen Nantian were fighting again. It seemed that the hidden immortal pagoda that Yen Nantian summoned had been destroyed. Impossible! Damn it! How was this possible? Yen Nantian was going crazy. What he summoned was a real phantom of an extreme weapon. It wasn't an illusion. However, the aura of an extreme grade weapon was enough to kill everything. Even if a saint came, he would still die here. However, it was blocked by the other party. Damn it! Was the ancient desolate pagoda that the other party had conjured really comparable to an extreme weapon? How could this be? The people in the distance were also stunned. They also couldn't understand how the phantom that Lin Xian summoned could be compared to the hidden immortal. These people flew forward again, wanting to observe more carefully. They even wanted to see through Lin Xian's secret. To be honest, Yen Nantian's injuries were very serious. His body had been damaged by the impact of the energy just now. If he hadn't mastered her secret technique, he probably wouldn't have been able to recover. However, Lin Xian recovered faster than him. Yen Nantian even wanted to use the Emperor Regeneration Talisman to quickly revive and kill the other party. However, he resisted in the end. The Emperor Regeneration Talisman was a life-saving technique. It was extremely precious. Even he didn't have many left. Unless it was a last resort, he wouldn't use it again. In front of them, the battle was still extremely tragic. Lin Xian was too strong, and he had an indomitable aura. Yen Nantian was also very strong. However, it seemed that this battle and the situation of almost being killed had made him flustered and exasperated. Now that the hidden immortal pagoda couldn't kill the other party, his confidence was shaken. Naturally, his aura was weakened. Therefore, how could he be a match for Lin Xian? In the end, his heart cracked. the spear of destruction arrived in front of the other party. Yen Nantion used the sage chariot to block it, but he couldn't block the dragon sword soul in the spear of destruction. The dragon sword soul turned into a flying sword and instantly cut open his head. Even his soul was injured. Yen Nantion screamed like a madman and used the Emperor Regeneration Talisman to escape into the distance. The peerless sword light of the dragon sword soul had yet to disappear, but Yen Nantion was already escaping. An ancient Emperor Talisman, the size of a palm, wrapped around him and flew quickly. The Emperor Talisman emitted an unparalleled light, causing Yen Nantion's aura to recover rapidly. As for Lin Xian, he held the spear of destruction and chased after him. "No, stop him," Yen Nantion screamed. The Emperor Regeneration Talisman needed some time to recover. If he was caught during this time, he would be finished. That's not right. The Emperor Regeneration Talisman should be able to recover instantly. Why does this guy still need time? Below, the Crimson Dragon was very surprised. Yen Ryu's eyes also flickered as she stared at the escaping light. Soon, they all smiled. This was because they realized that the Emperor Regeneration Talisman wasn't as good as before. There were broken corners on it. It seemed that it wasn't a complete Emperor Regeneration Talisman. No wonder it needed some time to recover. Seeing this, the two vermilion bird sages moved. One of their saint domains enveloped Yen Nantion. They protected him. The other slashed forward like a heavenly blade. In an instant, they cut off Lin Xian's path and charged towards Lin Xian. With a clang, they collided with the spear of destruction. Lin Xian was knocked back and stopped his pursuit. The other people in the surroundings all rushed over. One of the sages stared coldly at Lin Xian. Chapter 33-35. Lin Xian was not afraid at all. Flames filled the sky, and his killing intent was extremely strong. What? Is the Vermilion Bird Palace trying to break the rules? You want to interfere in the final battle? That's the center of attention. Lin Xian sneered. The others were also in an uproar. That's right. This is the battle to determine the final ranking of the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. The battle between the two of them will determine who is first on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. But now, a sage is interfering. Is the Vermilion Bird Palace cheating? Humph! The Vermilion Bird Sage snorted. A battle is a battle. Who allowed you to kill? You can't kill? What a joke! Lin Xian sneered and waved his finger. Suddenly, the illusion of the Vermilion Bird Palace master speaking appeared in the sky. That was the rule that the Vermilion Bird Palace master had mentioned before. In this battle, any means could be used, and killing was allowed, regardless of life or death. The appearance of the illusion was a slap to the sage's face. The sage's face darkened, and his body trembled in anger. Suddenly, two divine consciousnesses flew out of the holy realm and turned into divine light that pierced forward. However, Lin Xian used the great spear of destruction to cut them in half. Lin Xian's eyes were like rainbows as he looked into the distance. He knew that it was impossible to kill Yen Nantion this time, and he did not plan to kill him so easily. Therefore, he said loudly that he wanted someone to interfere. This meant that Yen Nantion had lost. I've won this battle. Now, who else dares to fight me? Lin Xian did not pay attention to these people. Instead, he looked at the participants below. After these cultivators felt Lin Xian's gaze, their scalps went numb, and they all shook their heads. Lin Xian looked up at the sky. All right, the first on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard is mine. He waved the great spear of destruction and shattered the 9 heavens. Lin Xian's aura rose to the extreme, and no one dared to look him in the eye. Even the sage standing opposite him frowned. Behind him, Yen Nantion's figure appeared, in the Holy Realm. At this moment, he had completely recovered, but his face was still extremely cold. He stared straight ahead. When Lin Xian saw the other party, he laughed coldly. "What's wrong? A coward who only dares to stand behind a saint? Do you dare to come over and fight to the death? Absolute your sister." Yan Nantian almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He wanted nothing more than for the two vermilion bird sages to attack and kill the other party. However, even the Vermilion Bird Palace wouldn't have the face to do such a thing in front of so many people, right? If this were to spread to all the swords in the heavens, they would be utterly humiliated. Therefore, he could only snort coldly and refuse to reply. At this moment, the crimson dragon below sneered. What's going on? Was the Vermilion Bird Palace a sore loser? Now that victory and defeat had been decided, could it be that he still wanted to renege on his debt? That's right. If I knew this was going to be a competition like this, I wouldn't have come either. Northern Demon also shouted coldly. Immediately, the surrounding people started discussing. Many people were already hostile towards the Vermilion Bird Palace because their disciples had been thrown out by the Vermilion Bird Palace. This had long caused dissatisfaction. Now, all kinds of talk are going on. Palace Lord, what should we do? The elders of the Vermilion Bird Palace quickly asked. They didn't know what to do about this situation. The Vermilion Bird Palace master's face was terrifyingly dark, but there was nothing he could do. He said that the successor of the 9 sons had won this round. When these words were said, everyone was in an uproar. Northern Demon and the Crimson Dragon, on the other hand, laughed. Yan Ruyu also revealed a beautiful smile. However, Yan Nanshan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He didn't say a word. The other participating prodigies also sighed and shook their heads. It seemed that they hadn't expected this result. The final winner wasn't Yan Nantian, but the successor of the 9 sons. Is there anyone else who isn't convinced and wants to challenge me? Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as he looked at the remaining participants. The remaining participants all shook their heads. Even Yan Nantian wasn't a match for him, let alone them. Since you don't want to challenge me, I'll be the champion of the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. Do you have any objections? Everyone shook their heads without any objections. Lin Xian smiled in satisfaction when he heard that. He raised his head and looked at the Vermilion Bird Palace. Could they announce the final result? Nonsense. You're the only one on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. What's the big deal? The others haven't been announced yet. Oh, is that so? All right then, let them do it. Lin Xian looked at these people. However, Northern Demon, Yan Ruyu, and the others shook their heads. I've decided to withdraw. I'm not interested in participating anymore. Other than the 2 of them, the rest of the participants also gave up. To be honest, after watching Lin Xian and Yan Nanshan's battle, they felt even more defeated. So, what if they were in second place now? They knew that they were still no match for the 2 of them. They were left far behind. This kind of despair made them lose the mood to fight. It seemed that they didn't want to fight, so it was better to announce the results. Lin Xian looked at the Vermilion Bird Palace again. The elders were so angry that they vomited blood. The Vermilion Bird Palace master was also so angry that he gritted his teeth. He swore in his heart that he would find a chance to kill the other party. However, at this moment, Yan Nantian spoke. How arrogant! As expected of the successor of the 9 sons, and the successor of the great dragon, right? Don't you think so, Lin Wudi? Yan Nanshan's words were surprising, but his words were even more shocking. The news was like a clap of thunder that resounded in all directions. Everyone was stunned. What did he say? The successor of the 9 sons, or the successor of the great dragon? What did he call that person? The successor of the 9 sons was called Lin Wudi. Heavens! Wasn't Lin Wudi ranked first on the Abyss leaderboard, on par with Ling. So, he was the successor of the 9 sons. Exclamations and discussions sounded. If Yen Nantian was right, then this matter was too serious. They finally knew why Lin Wuti was so terrifying. It turned out that he was the successor of the 9 sons. However, some people screamed because they felt that another piece of news was even more shocking, and that was the successor of the Great Dragon. The successor of the Great Dragon. The successor of the Great Dragon Sword. Heavens, that was an inheritance that was even more terrifying than the 9 sons. They didn't expect him to get it too. No wonder he could defeat Yen Nantian. Some people were at a loss at first. What was the successor of the Great Dragon? However, when some of the older generation spoke, they were extremely shocked. The Great Dragon Sword, one of the 5 swords of the world, had appeared. They stared at Lin Xian with burning eyes. This was a legendary offensive saint art. Didn't they see how he defeated the successor of a great emperor with the Great Dragon Sword? If they got it, their battle strength would increase rapidly. Not good. The Northern Demon, Yen Ruyu, and the Crimson Dragon's faces changed. Damn it, this guy actually leaked Lin Xian's secret. In fact, this wasn't much of a secret. Almost everyone in the true spirit world knew that Lin Xian was the successor of the 9 sons and the successor of the Great Dragon. However, Lin Xian was the palace master of the Immortal Palace back then, and there was a super sage behind the Immortal Palace. Lin Xian even had a good relationship with the Jade Lake Sacred Ground and the Yi family, who dared to touch him back then. But now it was completely different. Lin Xian left the true spirit world and stepped on the ancient star road. Moreover, he went on the road alone without a protector. Chapter 33-36. There were countless powerful cultivators on the ancient path of stars, and the large sects and families were as numerous as the stars in the sky. If these people wanted to attack, it would really be dangerous. Moreover, it would be even more dangerous if they alerted some terrifying great sage or super sage from all the worlds in the universe. It was over. The situation was getting difficult. Unless this kid joined a faction and sought protection, such as Yen Nantian joining the Vermilion Bird Palace. Apart from the fact that the Vermilion Bird Palace could provide more resources, it could also provide protection and deterrence. After all, if a sage attacked, Yen Nantian would probably not be able to escape. However, joining a large faction would be a deterrent. As expected, the 3 sage avatars' eyes were burning. It seemed that their true bodies had to come immediately. The 2 Vermilion Bird sages also had the same idea. For a moment, everyone was eyeing Lin Xian covetously. Lin Xian also frowned. That damned Yen Nantian really knew how to cause trouble for him. However, since he dared to fight Yen Nantian, he had already thought of this and had the Crimson Dragon set up a peerless array around him. Therefore, he remained calm. The next moment, he said in a deep voice, "Since you've decided that I'm the champion, then give me the champion's reward." There's no rush for the reward. Lin Gongzi is the champion of the Vermilion Bird list, so he hopes to come with me. The Vermilion Bird Palace will treat him well. The other contestants also went together. The Vermilion Bird Palace Lord chuckled. Lin Xian's expression changed. The Crimson Dragon also panicked. Damn it, no. If Lin Xian entered the Vermilion Bird Palace, he would definitely be trapped. If he wanted to come out again, he would probably die. Therefore, he definitely couldn't enter. Yen Ryu and the others also became nervous. Lin Xian's expression also changed. Damn it, to be honest, he didn't want to go either. However, what if the Vermilion Bird Palace really didn't give him a reward? He came this time for the Tao of Earthstone. If they didn't give him a reward, everything he had done before would be wasted. Could it be that he really had to go in? However, the price of going in was too high. who knew how many saints were waiting for him in the Vermilion Bird Palace. F***CK, Vermilion Bird Palace, Yen Nantian. I'll remember this. One day, I'll tear you to shreds. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. Just as he was in a dilemma, a voice rang out. There's no need to go to your Vermilion Bird Palace. Lin Wuti came with me this time. After he gets his reward, I have to send him back. As soon as this was said, everyone was in an uproar. Was someone going to stand up for Lin Wuti? They wanted to see who was behind Lin Wuti. In an instant, everyone turned their heads to look. Even the people from Vermilion Bird Palace frowned. In the next moment, they saw a figure rise into the air. This was a middle-aged man. He wore a starry robe and looked very dazzling. He came to the void, and countless starry arrays flashed under his feet. What a mysterious aura! The surrounding people were all shocked. However, the Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master cried out in surprise. Lengya Palace, you're from the Lengya Star. Yes, I am. The man in the star robes nodded his head calmly. The people around him started to cause a ruckus. Was he from the Lengya Star? The Lengya Star was actually behind Lin Wuti. Everyone was very shocked by the Lengya Star. They were not unfamiliar with it because the Lengya Star's reputation on the ancient path of stars was much greater than that of Vermilion Bird Palace. Countless people wanted to go to the Lengya Star to seek answers to their questions. Lin Xian was also stunned. He had not expected the Lengya Star to appear at this time. It seemed that the Lengya Star had been following him silently in order to test his strength. The person in front of him must have seen everything that had happened in the previous battle. Now that he had confirmed his strength, he had come to save him. After all, he still had to go to the void ocean for the Lengya Star in the future. Therefore, he nodded at the person from the Lengya Star. So it's a friend from the Lengya Star. You've come all the way here. Why don't you stay in the Vermilion Bird Palace for a few days? The Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master spoke again. However, the man in the star robes shook his head and said, There's no need. Hurry up and give us the reward. We still have things to do. At this point, he changed the topic. Could it be that the Vermilion Bird Palace wants to go back on their word? Or do you want to be blacklisted by the Lengya Star? As soon as he said this, the expressions of the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace changed. Both sides were super factions, but the other side did not need to deal with them at all. However, that was not necessarily the case for them. Perhaps they would need to use the Lengya Star in the future. Therefore, it would not be good for them to have a direct conflict now. They had no choice but to take out the reward in the future. The Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master took out a storage ring and said that all the rewards were inside. There was also a token, which was proof of identity to enter the void ocean. When the time came, Lin Gongzi could go to the void ocean. The man in the star robes did not move. Lin Xian took the storage ring and scanned it with his soul. Indeed, he found a Dao stone inside. The Earth Dao stone. Lin Xian smiled. He didn't care about anything else, but he definitely had to get his hands on the Earth Dao stone. He immediately took the Earth Dao stone out of the storage ring and placed it in the black earth. Then Lin Xian descended and summoned the Crimson Dragon to his side. Then he spoke to the North Demon and Yen Ryu. I still have something to do, so I will take my leave first. I will contact you when the time comes. They exchanged sound transmission arrays. Then Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon rose into the sky again. Next, the powerhouse from the Lengya Star in the star robes left with Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. Everyone was in an uproar when they saw the news. They were extremely excited. However, the faces of the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace were terrifyingly dark. Damn it! They had not expected that the battle they had carefully arranged to build up Yen Nanshan's popularity would be intercepted by someone else. More importantly, the person they had wanted to capture had been forcibly taken away by the people from the Lengya Star. The Vermilion Bird Palace had never suffered such a setback before. This really made them gnash their teeth in anger. Don't worry, that kid won't be able to escape. Yan Nanshan's face was cold. I am about to break through to the Sage Realm. When I break through to the Sage Realm, my strength will undergo an earth-shattering change. I will finally be able to use some mystiques. When the time comes, I will kill him like a dog. Yan Nanshan's eyes shone with a piercing light. Indeed, the Sage Realm was a watershed. When one stepped into the Sage Realm, they would truly transcend the heavens and earth and be able to control the laws of all things. It would be different if they were to use some powerful mystiques. Let's go. The people from the Vermilion Bird Palace quickly left. Although Yan Nantian had been defeated this time, they still had absolute confidence in him. He was a genius with a boundless future. He would definitely become an emperor in the future. After the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace left, the others discussed spiritedly. This battle was really too exciting. They believed that it would not be long before the news spread throughout the ancient path of the stars. They probably had to hurry up and prepare. In an instant, everyone left. The three sage clones looked uncertain, as if they were making some kind of decision. Chapter 33-37. Yen Ruyu said goodbye to the North Demon and quickly left. The North Demon also left. Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuyang's expressions were ugly. So, he was Lin Wuti. They had looked down on him before, but he was too powerful. But who would have thought that the other party was really too powerful? Even when the two of them joined hands, they were still not a match for the other party. Sage. I must become a sage. Their eyes shined brightly. The only way to surpass Lin Wuti was to become a sage. These people all left. Some made up their minds to not come out until they became sages, while others went to spread the news like crazy. Some only sighed, and their faces were filled with despair. That was because their elite geniuses had already been killed in the first round. In fact, they didn't even know who the murderer was right now. The most depressed were the people from the Yun family. Their patriarch of the Yun family, a saint, had mysteriously disappeared here. They were terrified and had to quickly return to discuss countermeasures. After everyone left planet, Suzaku seemed to have returned to normal. However, at this moment, an earth-shattering roar came from the Demon Cultivation Valley. Ah, damn brat, I won't let you go. This voice pierced through the 9 heavens and soared into the sky. He had transformed into a sage and was filled with killing intent. It was Cloud Sky Sage. At this moment, Cloud Sky Sage was still covered in mud. His eyes were as red as blood. Monstrous killing intent filled the 9 heavens as he broke free from the demonic pond. After he came out, he looked around and caught a person. He asked coldly, "Who are you?" That person was from the Vermilion Bird Palace. He was originally retreating from the Demon Cultivation Valley, but now he was caught and scared out of his wits. Cloud Sky Sage didn't hold back and forcibly collected the information he wanted to know. Soon, he withdrew his hand, but his face was terrifyingly gloomy. He actually defeated Yan Nantian and became the champion of the Vermilion Bird ranking. Moreover, not only was he the successor of the 9 sons, but he was also the successor of the Great Dragon. Cloud Sky Sage was simply too shocked. He realized that the person he had trapped was actually the successor of 2 top inheritances. Moreover, that person had the Great Destruction Spear. If he could capture such a person, not only could he obtain the Great Destruction Spear, but he could also obtain the 9 sons and Great Dragon inheritances. Thinking of this, he was so excited that he trembled. "Lin Wuti, you can't run away." Cloud Sky Saint's eyes shone with a cold light. He was searching, but he couldn't find Lin Wuti. Lin Wudi had been taken away by the people of Langyastar. The Langyastar? Cloud Sky Saint's eyes flickered, but he did not care. He knew that it was impossible for her to spend the rest of her life with the Saint of the Langyastar. As long as they were separated, he would find an opportunity to strike. He would capture the other party, and then go into seclusion for a few hundred years. He would only come out after his strength had greatly increased. At that time, with 2 great inheritances in his hands and a peerless weapon in his hands, who could be his opponent? At the thought of this, he could not wait to tear open the void and quickly flew toward the outer realm. He was not the only one who had such thoughts. Others also had such thoughts. Among them, the most powerful ones were the 3 clones of the saints. After they found out about Lin Xian's true identity, they immediately communicated with their original bodies. At this moment, the true bodies of the 3 sages were rushing over with haste. The 3 of them were not in the same group, but their goal was the same. Lin Xian and the Dark God Dragon followed the elites of the Langyastar and left Sazaka Star. They were returning to the Langyastar. They had been gone for a few days. Lin Xian also understood the elites of the Langyastar. He was indeed a saint of the Langyastar. The other party's name was Mu Bai. He was very powerful and had specially come to check on Lin Xian. Little guy, you are very powerful. Your future is definitely limitless. This was Mu Bai's evaluation. Lin Xian smiled. Senior, you are too kind. I wonder what you are going to do in the void sea. He was very puzzled by the Langyastar's request. This is not the place to discuss matters. I will tell you everything when we return to the Langyastar. Lin Xian nodded. Next, he began to cultivate in seclusion. After all, as a genius, his strength did not come for free. He had cultivated it bit by bit. Therefore, whenever he had time, Lin Xian would not give up on cultivating. The Crimson Dragon also began to study the chess game. This heaven-crippled chess game was mysterious and unpredictable. There were many changes in it. The Crimson Dragon was very happy. After traveling for another 2 days, Saint Mu Bai suddenly opened his eyes and frowned. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also woke up from their cultivation. Senior, someone is following us, Lin Xian said. Saint Mu Bai nodded. Ignore him. I will change the direction. The 2 of you can cultivate as much as you want. After saying that, he steered the spirit boat and changed its direction. The array on the spirit boat flashed and directly jumped through space. In an instant, it disappeared into the cold void. In the next moment, the spatial rift disappeared. At the same time, 3 powerful souls swept over. They left. These were the souls of the 3 saints. It was obvious that the 3 saints had made a move. Moreover, they were almost locked onto. Let's go and chase. They chased along the way. They did not know that the Cloud Sky Saint was behind them. The 4 saints began to chase. However, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were very calm. They were not worried about being caught at all. That was because Lin Xian was very strong. It was not a problem for him to kill a saint. Although the Crimson Dragon was also a half-saint, it was also not a problem for them to trap a saint together. In the end, it was not a problem for Saint Mu Bai to fight someone of the same level. They did not take the 3 saints seriously at all. However, it seemed that Saint Mu Bai did not want to fight with them. Instead, he changed his path from time to time. The array on the spirit boat was very powerful. Therefore, the time they took to reach the Langyastar was greatly reduced. About half a month later, they arrived near the Langyastar's star field. In a flash, they directly entered the Langyastar. Behind them, the 3 saints saw this scene and all stopped their pursuit. They had no choice. Although they were strong, they did not dare to attack the Langyastar. Therefore, they could only stop nearby. When the Cloud Sky Saint arrived, he also saw this scene and frowned again. However, The four of them did not leave. I don't believe that you can hide in the Langus star forever. They revealed a cold smile. The four saints hid near the Langus star. They were completely dormant, waiting for the opportunity to hunt. On the other hand, Mu Bai led Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon down to the first zone. At this moment, the Langya Palace Master and a group of elders were waiting for Lin Xian. What a large scale! The Crimson Dragon narrowed his eyes when he entered. He did not expect the reception this time to be so grand. After greeting the seniors, Lin Xian did not act arrogantly after entering. Instead, he cupped his fists and looked around. Lin Gongzi did not need to be overly courteous. The Langya Palace Master smiled and walked down personally. Lin Xian also looked up and was surprised. Chapter 33-38. The Palace Master of the Langya Palace looked like a young man in his 30s. He had a handsome face and his eyes were as deep as the stars. He didn't look like a leader, but a top young genius. The surrounding elders were also wearing star robes and emitting a mysterious aura. Lin Gongzi is a young genius and powerful. He won first place on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard and defeated Yan Nantian. He was just lucky. Lin Xian smiled. The palace master of the Vermilion Bird Palace said with a smile, "This battle can't be explained by luck. We know that Lin Gongzi is powerful. Perhaps he can really help us complete this mission." "Oh, right, what mission is it?" Lin Xian asked curiously. The palace master of the Langya Star said with a smile, "There's no hurry. We promised young master that when young master becomes the champion of the Vermilion Bird leaderboard, we will give young master a big gift. This is the Metal Dao Stone." The palace master of Langya Palace flipped his hand, and a golden stone appeared. It was emitting an extremely cold aura, like a divine sword. The void around them kept shattering. Metal Dao Stone. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. He took it without hesitation. He already had 4 in his hands. He was already very close to his goal. According to the agreement, we will also give Lin Gongzi the whereabouts of the Water Dao Stone. We will also give young master an additional message. These were all agreed upon before. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. I will also help you complete the mission according to the agreement. However, Lin Gongzi, is our relationship really just a mission? Doesn't young master want to go further?" "What do you mean?" Lin Xian was surprised. The palace master of the Langya Palace smiled. "I naturally want to invite young master to join our Langya Star. Young master should know about the relationship between Yan Nantian and the Vermilion Bird Palace. Moreover, this is just an exception. There will be more and more peerless powerhouses and geniuses joining the various top forces. I think young master will be no exception in the future. Why don't you join our Langya Palace?" The Langya Star was relatively famous in the myriad worlds. It was not inferior to the Vermilion Bird Palace. To be honest, Lin Xian was really tempted. It seemed that joining a powerful force was the general trend, and he couldn't resist it. Otherwise, he would be at a disadvantage when competing with those people in the future. And joining a place like the Vermilion Bird Palace was probably too strict. Lin Xian didn't want to be restricted. Lin Xian was tempted by the Langya Star, which occupied a star world and focused on divination and deduction. Moreover, it had great resources. Moreover, the Langya Star had always had a good relationship with him and had even entrusted him with missions. Therefore, Lin Xian nodded. This was not impossible. Seeing that Lin Xian was tempted but hesitant, the Langya Palace's palace master added, "I know what young master is worried about. Don't worry, we won't restrict the young master too much. A prodigy like the young master must be a powerhouse who can compete in the myriad worlds. We will provide you with resources, information, and necessary help. What we are betting on is young master's future. One day when young master reaches the peak and becomes a great emperor, our Langistar will naturally rise as well. I understand these principles, but isn't your Langistar afraid that one day I will bring endless disaster to you? Lin Xian asked. He knew that he was being targeted by a mysterious force. Who knew when it would erupt? Since it was a gamble, then while enjoying the fruits of victory, he would definitely bear a monstrous risk. We know this. Not only do we have to bear it, but everyone has to bear it. For example, the Vermilion Bird Palace was already so close to Yen Nantian. It was fine if Yen Nantian became a great emperor, but if he couldn't or died halfway, the other forces would definitely suppress him. The other forces would definitely suppress the Vermilion Bird Palace madly, and might even destroy it. Lin Xian nodded. That was true. For example, he was already at odds with Yen Nantian and the Vermilion Bird Palace. If he killed Yen Nantian, he wouldn't let the Vermilion Bird Palace off either. All right, since that's the case, I'll join the Langistar. Hearing this, the elders in the hall all laughed. The Langistar's palace master also laughed. Good. The few times young master came to the Langistar, he was always in the 8th palace. Why don't I make young master the 8th palace master? Thank you, palace master. Lin Xian cupped his fists. The Langistar was divided into many areas. For example, the things that Lin Xian asked before were all in the 8th palace. Therefore, after he became the palace master, everything in the 8th palace was under his control. This wasn't an empty title, but an elder with real power. It could be seen that the Langistar valued him very much. However, Lin Xian wasn't interested in managing things like this. Therefore, even if he became the palace master of the 8th palace, he would let others do it. Since he had become a member of the Langistar, Lin Xian wouldn't be polite. He asked Palace Master, "What did you go to the Void Sea to get?" The Langia Palace Master said, "It's a long story, and it's related to you. You fought with the great demon, and in the end, you summoned the first-generation demon shadow, and used demon swallowing the world to seal the endless starry sky. The Langia star was also sealed in it. In the end, the Langia star formation blocked it. However, there were still some places that were broken. One of the places was filled with demonic chi, and it hasn't disappeared yet. This isn't ordinary demonic chi. It's very difficult to erase. More importantly, there's a sleeping green demonic vine in our Langia star. If we remove the demonic chi and alarm the green demonic vine, or if the demonic chi and the green demonic vine fuse together, we'll be in trouble. I'm afraid that the entire Langia star will be in danger. Hearing this, Lin Xian's expression became solemn. Green demonic vine. He didn't expect to hear about such a terrifying demonic creature here. It was a very terrifying thing. Once it grew up, it could destroy the entire star world. Ordinary saints would have to become nourishment for the other party. Back then, the green demonic vine erupted in crisis in the universe. Many star worlds were quickly shattered. In the end, a great emperor took action and forcefully erased it. Only then did the disaster stop. In the end, there were very few green demonic vines in the universe. He didn't expect that there would be one on the Langia star. In addition, he also found one on the North Demon. I see. What should I do? He asked again. The Langia star's palace lord said, "After some time, the Void Sea will open. It's a land of endless treasures. We deduced that there's a statue of a great sage in the Void Sea. It cultivates the righteous chi of heaven and earth, which specializes in restraining demonic creatures. Take out that statue and use it to suppress the demonic chi on the Langia star. It'll be able to resolve this crisis. So that's how it is." Lin Xian nodded. "I understand. The water Daoist stone that you're looking for is also in the Void Sea. Moreover, it won't be long before the Void Sea opens. Many major forces and elites will enter. Firstly, it's a trial in the ancient star path. Secondly, it's also a treasure hunt. There's an age restriction to enter the Void Sea. Only those under 1,000 years old can enter. Those over 1,000 years old can't enter. Of course, some special methods can be used, but there's a price to pay. Moreover, with Lin Gongzi's help, we're more at ease. Palace Master, how long will it take for the Void Ocean to open? Chapter 33-39. Half a year, there was still half a year left. The Void Sea would open, and they would be able to enter then. Lin Xian thought for a moment, and then asked, "Oh, right, I still need information about the magnetic stones." As soon as he said this, the elders in the hall exclaimed in a low voice and discussed animatedly. "What's wrong?" Lin Xian was surprised. How could it cause such a huge commotion? The palace master of Langya Palace said, "It seems that our guess is right. You want to cultivate the 5 elements into one. Only this kind of law would require a large number of Dao stones." "That's right." Lin Xian nodded. Since he had already joined the Langya Star, he would not hide it. Hearing that, the people in the palace hall all sucked in a mouthful of cold air. The 5 elements into one was very rare. Perhaps only the young man in front of them dared to do so. The palace master of Langya Palace said, "I will help you deduce the matter of the magnetic mountain. We have previously deduced that it is not in the Void Sea. It should be somewhere else." All right. Lin Xian was not in a hurry. He would go to the Void Sea and obtain the water Dao stone first. The news of Vermilion Bird Palace spread like a hurricane. Many people in the world knew about it. They were extremely shocked. They did not expect that the Vermilion Bird Palace, which had spent so much effort to organize the Vermilion Bird list, would end up benefiting someone else's disciple. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace would probably be angered to death, right? It turned out that Lin Wudi was the successor of the 9 sons. Moreover, he was the successor of the Great Dragon. He was too powerful. I reckon that it was very likely that he would become a great emperor. Yes, if nothing unexpected happened. However, I reckon that many people have their eyes on him now, right? Do you think he will go to the Void Sea in half a year's time? Who knows? But I'm definitely going. Everyone in the universe was talking about it. Lin Wudi's name once again resounded throughout the starry universe. Those young geniuses were all envious and looked up to him. The older generation figures also nodded repeatedly. Of course, some peerless powerhouses were also jealous and even prepared to take action. At the same time, the news of the Void Sea also spread. Many large factions in the universe were preparing to head to the Void Sea. Some of the top geniuses even felt that this was a good opportunity to become a sage. After all, there were many treasures in the Void Ocean. If they could enter and obtain it, the time they needed to become saints would be greatly reduced. In this way, they might be able to compete with Lin Wudi. All of a sudden, everyone began to move. Those who were a little further away had already set sail. The Void Sea was a sea in the void of the universe. It was very strange. The seawater here was unusual. It could swallow people and even half-saints. Of course, if the void was still open, there would be a certain amount of time for people to enter. That was why everyone was waiting for this opportunity to open it. Some warriors who had arrived early were already wandering around the Void Sea. Those peerless experts and elders were staring at the Void Sea with sparkling eyes. Some of the youngsters felt their scalps go numb because they saw corpses and bones floating out of the waves of the Void Ocean. These were the corpses and bones of those who had come to the Void Ocean in the past to search for treasures. The Void Sea had always been rumored to contain treasures, so since ancient times, many people had come here to search for treasures. Boom, boom, boom. Heaven and earth trembled, and the endless darkness turned fiery red. A vermilion bird spread its wings and soared into the sky like an ancient divine beast. The people around the Void Ocean were all shocked. How terrifying could it be that the ancient divine beast had been resurrected? The youngsters exclaimed. The elders were also shocked. No, the people from Vermilion Bird Palace had come. Indeed, the huge vermilion bird had arrived near the void ocean and occupied a part of the starry sky. The vermilion bird spread its wings and soared into the sky. There were many people standing on it, each of them with prominent horns and powerful auras. Obviously, they were all geniuses. Standing at the front was an extremely handsome man. He was Yen Nantian, the successor of the great emperor, Yen Nantian. There were also elders and geniuses from Vermilion Bird Palace. Exclamations of surprise could be heard. Many people were secretly sizing up Yen Nantian. Previously, Yen Nantian had been rumored to be the most likely candidate to become the great emperor. However, he had been defeated by Lin Wudi in the Vermilion Bird list battle. Therefore, they wanted to see what Yen Nantian was like. But soon, they began to scream in pain. Yen Nantian snorted coldly. The phantoms of the four divine beasts circled around him, causing those who tried to peek to bleed from their eyes and fall from the sky. He was too powerful. Many people retracted their gazes. There was awe in their expressions. Even if the successor of the great emperor had been defeated, he was not someone ordinary people could provoke. Vermilion Bird Palace had come aggressively this time. In addition to Yen Nantian, there were many half-saints. There were even a few whose auras were very obscure. Could it be that the clones of the saints had been forced? Many people were solemn. Next, more and more forces and families came. They stood in a part of the starry sky. Fortunately, this was the universe, and there was endless space. However, those who occupied the most advantageous positions were a few top forces. Vermilion Bird Palace was one of them. No one dared to approach where they were. In addition, a few forces that were on par with Vermilion Bird Palace had also come. For a moment, the atmosphere near the void ocean was very tense. Unexpectedly, the opening of the void ocean this time had attracted so many people. In the void of the universe, a spirit ship was flying quickly. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon stood inside, their eyes shining. Beside him was Saint Mubai and a few elders of Langya Palace. There were not many people. Even the Langyastar did not send those young genius disciples. Was it because those people were not good at fighting, or did the Langyastar have other intentions? When they came near the void ocean, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon looked at the light screen in front of them. The surrounding array had already reflected the images of the surroundings. Lin Xian saw that there were countless figures around the void ocean. Their auras were very strong. Some of them were young geniuses and were very strong. There were also those of the older generation. They were all sitting there cross-legged, staring at a part of the world. Lin Xian knew that apart from the young geniuses, only a small number of strong cultivators had entered, because there was an age limit. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that some people had forced their way in. However, such people were definitely in the minority. Lin Xian did not take them seriously. While Lin Xian was sizing up the people outside were also alarmed by the aura of the spirit ship. They saw a ray of light rushing over, followed by an ancient spirit ship. Immediately, there were exclamations. It was the spirit ship of the Langyastar. Many people exclaimed when they saw the pattern on the spirit ship. Chapter 3340. The pattern of the Langyastar was a starlight pattern. In the middle was an incomparably bright star, surrounded by many other stars, forming a star field. It was very strange. People could recognize it at a glance. At this moment, countless exclamations sounded. The spirit boat of the Langyastar continued to move forward without stopping. Obviously, with the strength and status of the Langyastar, It had to stop at a position closer to the front. As expected, the figures in the positions near the front of the void also turned their heads and exclaimed. Those on the huge vermilion bird turned their heads and looked over. In the next moment, many people's expressions changed. Damn it, it's the people of the Langia Star. The spirit boat stopped in the void. Then, a few figures rushed out of it. The person in the lead was a young man in a red robe. He had a handsome face, and there was also a divine dragon following beside him. He looked extraordinarily mighty. Following closely behind were Saint Mubai and a few elders. As soon as they appeared, they attracted the attention of everyone. Damn it, it's you. A cold voice rang out. Above the 9 heavens, endless thunder and lightning descended. It pierced through all directions. Everyone below felt their hair stand on end. What a terrifying aura. Who dared to make a move at this time? Countless people quickly looked around. Soon, they found that the person who spoke was Yen Nantian. Yen Nantian's murderous aura surged and shot into the sky. That aura was so terrifying that even a half-saint would tremble. His eyes burned with a fiery red light as he stared straight ahead. He didn't expect to meet his sworn enemy in the void sea half a year later. Yen Nantian's face was terrifyingly gloomy. Between heaven and earth, a terrifying murderous aura surged, making people's scalps tingle. Lin Xian also glanced at Yen Nantian. Then he laughed. Isn't this the loser I defeated? How dare you come out? Let me tell you, I'm going to the void sea too. So you'd better take your people and get lost. As soon as he said that, everyone's eyes popped out. They didn't even dare to breathe. This was a fight between immortals. As expected, the Vermilion Bird Palace's people's expressions were extremely ugly. Quite a few people's eyes were emitting flames. The overflowing flames transformed into flaming tornadoes that engulfed the 9 heavens. That damned brat. How dare he look down on us? Many of the Vermilion Bird Palace's geniuses clenched their teeth. The Vermilion Bird Palace's elders also had unwavering expressions, as if they were about to attack. What? Do I have to make a move just because I want to be outside? I don't mind playing with you guys. Lin Xian's body flashed, and he stomped his foot. Suddenly, the surrounding void shattered and turned into a terrifying black crack. A terrifying pressure pressed down on the surrounding people, causing their faces to turn pale and their blood to almost freeze. The flames that filled the sky were instantly torn to shreds. Those from the Vermilion Bird Palace gulped. No one dared to make a move because they knew that the person in front of them was no ordinary person. He was the number 1 on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard, someone who had suppressed Yen Nantian. However, a Vermilion Bird Palace prodigy still sent a voice transmission. Elder, why don't we attack and kill him? We have a saint on our side anyway. However, when the Vermilion Bird Palace's elder heard that, he snorted coldly. Shut up and don't mess around. We have a saint, but so does he. Try it if you dare. If you want to kill him, you can go in. There will be plenty of opportunities, but not here. Hearing that prodigy stopped talking. Indeed, if they had a saint on their side, how could the Langia Star not have one? Especially in such a situation, the elders around Lin Xian were probably here to protect him. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone was still waiting. Finally, a powerful aura surged over from afar, and dragon roars resounded through the 9 heavens. Everyone's bodies were about to split open. Their scalps went numb. Heavens, the powerhouses of the dragon race were here. Even the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace were on guard as they held their breaths. Only Yen Nantian snorted coldly, not caring at all. Lin Xian turned his head curiously. Are they from the dragon race? There were indeed dragons in the myriad worlds. I wonder how they compare to the nest of 10,000 dragons. In the distance, a huge dragon flew over quickly like a mountain range. many figures stood on the huge dragon. They were all in the form of dragons. Of course, there were also a few who didn't seem to be bothered to transform into dragons. They appeared in their dragon forms. Their horns were ferocious, and their auras were powerful. With their strong physiques, they could shatter the void with a light shake. They were from the Dragon Valley. Many people exclaimed. Obviously, this was also a major force, and it was from the dragon race. Dragon Valley? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The crimson dragon beside him also sneered. On the huge dragon, the powerhouses of the dragon race stood there, ignoring everyone. Suddenly, one of them frowned. His huge eyes looked down and stared at the place where Lin Xian was. Instantly, the void in that place turned into a black hole. How terrifying. What's wrong with this person? Why did he attack Lin Wudi? The surrounding people were shocked. However, the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace were delighted. Could it be that this kid has also provoked the Dragon Valley? If that's the case, there's going to be fun to watch. They all had gloating expressions on their faces. The faces of the people from the Langya Star changed. Even Sage Mu Bai was on guard. However, Lin Xian didn't care. Beside him, the crimson dragon roared. The dragon's roar reverberated through the 9 heavens, causing the bodies of the people above to tremble slightly. What's going on? The people from the Dragon Valley stopped and stared at the crimson dragon with unfriendly expressions. The others were also stunned. There's still a dragon race? Which world are you from? The powerhouse of the Dragon Valley asked coldly. You people don't have the right to know. The crimson dragon snorted. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. This guy probably doesn't even know which world he's from. Humph, let's go. The people from the Dragon Valley looked at them and ignored them. They naturally knew that they weren't the only branch of the dragon race. There were other worlds that had them. However, if they really went to the Void Ocean and fought for treasures, even if the other party was from the dragon race, they wouldn't show mercy. The people from the Dragon Valley dominated this world. After this, more powerful forces came. The Dark Moon Palace, the 8 Baron Pavilion. The Seacombe family was a major force that was on par with the Dragon Valley and the Vermilion Bird Palace. The elites in the 8 Baron Pavilion were also very terrifying, and this time there were leaders leading the way. Even when facing Yen Nantian, they didn't show any fear. One could imagine that they were very confident and powerful. That guy. Among the people of the Dragon Valley, there was a figure with a gloomy expression. It was Long Zhaotian. He was originally from the Dragon Tribe, so he had joined the Dragon Valley in the past half a year. He had become a member of the Dragon Valley and was valued. On the other side, there was also a pale person from the Dark Moon Palace. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold, murderous look in his eyes. He was Zhao Wuliang. He had joined the Dark Moon Palace. In addition to these people who were hostile to Lin Xian, there were also some people who were greedy for the treasures on Lin Xian. Among them, there were 4 sages hiding in the dark. One of them was the Cloud Sky Saint, but they must have hidden in order to secretly enter the Void Ocean. He couldn't find them for the time being. However, Lin Xian could feel that there were a few powerful auras lingering nearby. Chapter 3341. Humph. He snorted coldly and didn't care at all. As long as these people dared to come, he would make them regret it. Brother Lin, the North Demon, walked over from afar and greeted him. Yen Ryu was also here. The 3 of them attracted the attention of countless people. Yen Ryu only brought 2 people with her this time. 2 of them were dressed in green robes. One of them was an old lady with a walking stick. The other was a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard. They stood there silently, as if they didn't exist. The North Demon came with his sister. He hadn't joined any forces yet. Ever since the Vermilion Bird trial, he had gone into seclusion and only came out recently. Why don't you join the Langistar directly? Lin Xian said. Hearing this, the Langistar sage and elder raised their eyebrows. These two people were top prodigies. Yan Ryu smiled and said, Even if I don't join, can't you help me? The North Demon nodded. Sure, but I have to bring my sister along. Hearing this, Lin Xian glanced at Sage Mubai. Sage Mubai smiled and said, No problem. He was too happy. The North Demon was also a top prodigy. At this moment, Lin Xian added, Elder Mubai, my brother is not simple. He has a battle armor on him, which is the Green Nocturne. If Brother North Demon grows up in the future, he might be able to control the Green Nocturne. Hearing this, Sage Mubai's eyes lit up. He looked at the North Demon with even more joy in his eyes. Someone who could control the Green Nocturne? To them, that person was like a savior. Of course, he also looked at Lin Xian gratefully. If it weren't for Lin Xian, the North Demon probably wouldn't have joined the Langistar. It seemed that betting on Lin Xian's future and fully supporting him was the right choice. The North Demon also heaved a sigh of relief. He waved his hand and called for his sister. Then he said, You can follow me first. These seniors can wait outside. The void ocean is too dangerous. It's not suitable for you to enter now. All right, brother, be careful. The North Demon nodded and started to fight with Lin Xian. They began to wait patiently. Boom. They waited for about 10 days before an earth-shattering sound came from the front. Waves rose from the void ocean. Each wave was 10,000 miles high. It was impossible to see them clearly in the darkness. However, the 8 waves spun rapidly, forming a huge vortex that looked as though it was going to devour everything. However, the experts waiting here all revealed smiles as they looked at the vortex. Good. It's finally open. They can enter now. Hearing this, everyone took a deep breath. Was it finally going to open? Many people clenched their fists. This time, they had to come out alive and successfully bring out the treasure. Sage Mu Bai also looked at Lin Xian and the Northern Demon and said in a low voice, Be careful. He looked at Lin Xian. Especially you. I reckon that many people will make a move on you this time. I'm guessing that among them, there must be a saint who sneaked in. Don't worry, I can handle it. Lin Xian smiled. Then he turned around and walked forward with the Crimson Dragon, Northern Witch, and Yan Ryu. The surrounding people all moved out and entered the black vortex, disappearing without a trace. However, at that moment, 2 muffled groans were heard. 2 figures were sent flying, and their blood dyed the void red. Then they turned into a sea of blood. It was the blood of a saint. Many people exclaimed. There were indeed saints among them. However, it seemed that the 2 saints were not strong enough. They were sent flying and were seriously injured. Damn it! The 2 saints cursed softly. They were instantly covered in blood and flew into the distance. Sage Mubai looked at this scene and sneered. What a stupid guy. He didn't even ask around before coming to the void ocean. How dare he barge in? Seeing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Were the saints injured? It seemed that there were special restrictions. Thinking of this, he stopped hesitating and quickly walked forward. Soon, they were engulfed by the darkness. The seawater washed their bodies, forcing them to defend themselves. However, it was too dark. It seemed that the abyss could devour all light. Therefore, they couldn't see clearly at all. Everyone was not worried. They just waited for them to enter. Suddenly, a scream was heard. Oh no! The voice was very sweet. Lin Xian heard it and asked coldly, What's wrong? It was Yan Ruyu's voice. However, at the next moment, he was sent flying by a huge force. Boom. Oh no, I've been set up. Someone is setting up a trap. Lin Xian instantly understood. Fortunately, his physique was strong, although this attack landed on his body. It didn't pierce through it. The blood in his body was boiling. He forcefully suppressed it and shouted coldly, "Someone is setting up a trap. Don't make a sound." He was reminding the Crimson Dragon, Yenryu, and the North Demon. However, his reminder exposed his position again. Suddenly, there was an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation in the void. However, there was no light at all. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian took the attack head-on and was forced to retreat. His blood was boiling. However, he did not act rashly because he could not find Yenryu and the others. If he hurt them, it would be troublesome. He had to survive this period of darkness first. All of this happened in an instant. Then light appeared in front of them. Everyone was wrapped in seawater and rushed out. They had completely entered the void ocean. This was a scene at the bottom of the ocean. It was like an underwater dragon palace. There were all kinds of marine plants and fish. Those were all demonic beasts. The water was heavy. However, those who could enter were at least half saints. Some of them were clones of saints, and some were hidden saints. Therefore, the pressure of the seawater was not a threat to them. It only affected them a little. Lin Xian, are you okay? Yenryu and the others walked over and asked with concern. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. In the next moment, he nodded. He realized that it was really Yenryu this time. The North Demon and the Crimson Dragon saw that Lin Xian's robe was a little tattered and some parts were charred. They asked nervously, "What's going on?" "Someone attacked me in the dark." "What? Did they attack so soon?" The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. The North Demon and Yenryu were shocked. They looked around cautiously. There were some people around, but most of them left quickly after landing. The North Demon glanced and said, "Something's not right. There are much fewer people here than before. It seems that they were randomly assigned." "Humph. You actually dared to come in. You really don't know what's good for you. Wait and see. When the time comes, none of you will be able to leave." At that moment, a sneer came from behind. The North Demon and the others turned around. In the next moment, they frowned. It was the people of the Vermilion Bird Palace. Not only was Yen Nantian not here, but it seemed that he was not teleported here. He must have been teleported somewhere else. "What should we do, kid?" the Crimson Dragon asked. Chapter 3342. The North Demon said, "They have a lot of people, and we're here to find treasures. Let's not get into a conflict with them." Lin Xian frowned. Golden runes flashed in his eyes, as if he was confirming something. Soon he sneered. "So it was you? Since that's the case, go to hell." The aura on his body burst out and swept through the entire area. The surrounding seawater started to churn crazily, creating a vacuum zone. There were still some people around. When they saw this scene, they shrunk their necks in fear. "God, we just entered, and Lin Wudi wants to start a war with Vermilion Bird Palace. It's you." The North Demon and Yenryu wanted to say something, but Lin Xian suddenly attacked. The golden palm reached forward. In an instant, it covered all the people from Vermilion Bird Palace. However, there was a golden sword aura in the palm that pierced towards one of them. Poof. It was too fast. In just an instant, there was a scream. Then one of the geniuses from Vermilion Bird Palace was split open. The corpse fell to the sides, and the soul escaped screaming. "Damn it, you really dared to attack." The people from Vermilion Bird Palace roared crazily. They were furious. Although Lin Wudi had defeated Yen Nantian, so what? Even a saint didn't dare to start a war with Vermilion Bird Palace. Vermilion Bird Palace was very powerful, but now the other party killed one of their geniuses without hesitation. The soul of the genius floated in the air and screamed crazily. "Damn it, you dare to attack me? He was so angry that he was going crazy. Lin Xian sneered. Why wouldn't I dare to attack you? You attacked me first, right? You were the one who attacked me at the entrance. You think I can't sense you just because you hid your aura? Since you dared to attack me, you must be prepared to die. Lin Xian's sword aura soared into the sky, pressing down on the soul until it almost dimmed. Damn it! How dare you attack my Vermilion Bird Palace? Kill. Suddenly, one of them charged over. Vermilion Bird Seal. He formed a seal with his palm and transformed into a huge vermilion bird that charged towards Lin Xian. At the same time, the other person drew a long saber with a clang. It was as red as fire and looked like the feathers of a vermilion bird. Although it was not as good as the feather in Yan Nanshan's hand, it was still extremely terrifying. In an instant, the surrounding seawater was split apart. At the same time, the other person also made his move. The flames on his body overflowed into the sky, covering all the seawater. They formed two large flaming palms and grabbed Lin Xian's legs, preventing him from escaping. The three geniuses struck out at the same time, displaying their ultimate skills. It was truly ferocious. Ha ha, die for me. The vermilion bird seal rushed towards Lin Xian's head, while the vermilion bird feather longsword stabbed towards Lin Xian's heart. Both were fatal attacks. Boom, boom. An earth-shattering collision sound rang out. Terrifying flames and violent energy engulfed Lin Xian. The aura of the Crimson Dragon and the others burst out, tearing everything apart. Their eyes were cold, and the surrounding warriors retreated like crazy. They had just entered and encountered such a thing, so they did not have time to react. Some of them were even sent flying by this force. Humph! I don't believe you can block it. The Vermilion Bird Palace, people sneered. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The seawater surged, and the surrounding sea demons were all blasted into pieces, scattering all over the ground. Lin Xian's figure appeared, stunning the Vermilion Bird Palace people. Damn it, how could he not be injured? How could he not be injured? These people found it hard to believe. Although they had only seen Lin Xian's power, personally fighting and watching were two completely different things. Three of you ganging up on me? Very good. Your Vermilion Bird Palace really has guts. You actually dare to attack me. Lin Xian's body emitted crackling sounds, and a thunderous golden light shone so brightly that no one could open their eyes. With a stomp of his foot, the two large flaming palms that bound him were instantly torn apart. Ah! The genius opposite him screamed and retracted his hands. There were countless cracks on his palms, and even his bones could be seen. His face was filled with shock. Too strong. The other party only shook his body, and he could not withstand that force. Does your hand hurt? Don't worry. The pain you will suffer will be 10,000 times more painful than your hand. A cold voice sounded in front of him. The genius raised his head, scared out of his wits. He did not know when the other party had appeared in front of him. A large palm reached out and slapped his face like a mountain. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the earth cracked. A large crack appeared on the seabed. The Vermilion Bird Palace genius's body fell to the ground. His body was torn apart, and his face was smashed into pieces. Eye technique. Soul stab. Lin Xian formed a hand seal, and the heavenly secret divine eye erupted. A golden light pierced the other party's soul. Immediately, the other party's soul let out a miserable shriek, as if he was in great danger. The sound was so terrifying that it made one's scalp tingle. You dare to stab my heart with a sword? Trash! Let me tell you how to use a sword. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the other person. A ray of sword chi appeared on his fingertip. It streaked across the sea, and a sword mark appeared on the other person's forehead. Blood immediately flowed out. What a fast sword! That was the only thought he had. Bang! The corpse fell to the ground. The sword had directly destroyed the other party's body and soul. The soul of the first man, who had suffered great pain, also died. In the blink of an eye, two geniuses were completely destroyed. Lin Xian turned to the third person. The vermilion bird seal? So weak. Let me tell you how to use the vermilion bird seal. He formed a hand seal, and the golden flames on his body danced. They turned into a golden vermilion bird, and he pushed it out with his palm. This power was much stronger than before. It was as if the primordial vermilion bird had been revived. Boom, boom. That person was blasted into pieces, and his soul managed to escape. However, Lin Xian used his heavenly fate god eyes on the soul that had attacked earlier, and this soul that had attacked earlier. The terrifying light made the two of them scream. Another two souls fell. In an instant, all four of them were killed. Everything happened so quickly that the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace could not react. In the distance, the martial artists passing by were scared witless. Linwoody was too strong. They should not provoke him unless they were a saint. They quickly fled. Damn it! How dare you attack us? I'm going to... Before a genius from the Vermilion Bird Palace could finish his words, he was slapped to the ground by the leader. Shut up. All of you King leave. They turned into a stream of flame and fled. It was too terrifying. They did not have a saint's clone, nor did they have Yen Nantian. How could they fight against the other party? It was better to escape first. Wait until they met up with the main group. Then discuss how to kill the other party. Kid, are you going to let them escape just like that? The Crimson Dragon looked at the other party and asked quickly. Lin Xian shook his head. Don't worry, they can't escape. They will definitely find the experts from the Vermilion Bird Palace and come back. I'll leave a mark on them. When the time comes, I'll use them to find Yen Nantian. Then I'll kill them all. Chapter 33:43. Now we don't have time to chase after these clowns. Let's go and see what's so magical about the Void Sea. The group quickly set off. Nobody dared to provoke them wherever they went. That was because their lineup was too powerful. None of them were weak. Suddenly, a huge shadow appeared in front of them. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura came from it. Yen Ryu and the dark red divine dragon both sucked in a deep breath. That was demonic aura. What a terrifying demonic aura. The North demons had the body of 10,000 demons. Although the Crimson Dragon was a dragon, it could be said to be the leader of 10,000 demons. Yen Ryu had once joined the Demon King Palace, so she should be related to the demons. Therefore, they were the most sensitive to the demonic chi. Lin Xian's soul was strong, so he naturally felt it too. The aura was too terrifying. It even carried the aura of a saint. Could it be a demonic saint? There was actually a demonic saint here. Let's go. They sped up and rushed forward through the waves. Soon, they approached the huge shadow. However, they realized that it was not a shadow, but a corpse that was as big as a mountain. Its bones were blue like stars. They were very hard and could not be broken at all. After such a long time, the flesh and blood were gone, but the bones were perfectly preserved. It was the best material for refining weapons and armor. Why didn't anyone want it? Ben Huang won't stand on ceremony. The Crimson Dragon stretched out its claws and grabbed forward. In front of them, the demonic saint's corpse was as big as a mountain. However, so what if it was huge? The Crimson Dragon's claw contained a part of the world. It could take in any mountain. However, he soon realized that something was wrong because he could not take it in at all. It was too strange. It was fixed there and could not be picked up at all. Damn it, it's so strange. The Crimson Dragon mumbled and tried a few more times, but it was useless. Therefore, he could only give up. Yen Ryu's beautiful eyes flickered as she looked around. He said, "This shouldn't be the first time the Void Sea has opened, right? In the past, there must have been strong cultivators like us. The treasures that could be seen at a glance would have been taken away by our ancestors. It's not even our turn." This was an explanation for the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon gnashed its teeth in anger. Damn it! Ben Huang was so angry that he kicked the huge corpse fiercely. Clang! An earth-shattering sound rang out, causing everyone to frown. The Crimson Dragon also let out a roar. Damn it! Ben Huang was in so much pain. What kind of broken thing was this? How could it be so hard? Lin Xian said, "All right, stop messing around. Let's go see what other treasures there are. Little White, it's up to you." Lin Xian gave Little White 2 spirit fruits. Little White hugged the spirit fruit and squeaked, "Let me see," before he could finish his words. The water around them began to circulate rapidly, forming a water prison that completely enveloped them. Not good! Someone is attacking us again. The Crimson Dragon let out a strange cry. Could it be someone from the Vermilion Bird Palace? They discovered that it wasn't. Look at what it is. The Northern Demon frowned. In the distance, many black shadows swam over. Yenryu said, "Not good. Let's go." They bombarded the water prison and shattered it. However, the black shadows still surrounded them. Finally, they saw clearly what these black shadows were. They were terrifying fish, and they were all demon fish. The aura on their bodies was terrifying. Their teeth and scales were sharp enough to pierce through everything. If there were only 1 or 2 Lin Xian, and the others wouldn't care at all. However, there were tens of thousands of them. God knows how many there were. Not good. These are ghost fiend fish. They are very terrifying. Their attacks are very strong and crazy. Let's go quickly. Break out of the encirclement. Don't fight them head on. Yen Ryu said quickly. Lin Xian and the others nodded and struck out with their palms. It was like a school of fish. Instantly, the ghost fiend fish were sent flying. Lin Xian's fist was terrifyingly harmonious. The ghost fiend sharks in front of him were all turned into ashes. They turned into a bloody mist. However, the blood stimulated the ghost fiend sharks. Immediately, they released endless bubbles and stared at Lin Xian. They rushed over quickly. Like blue divine arrows, they crashed into Lin Xian's body, making sonorous sounds. Although Lin Xian's body was strong, he couldn't withstand the impact of so many fish. He could tell that if a saint was trapped here, he would probably die. Therefore, he stomped his foot. Like a coiling dragon, he split the world with his foot. Boom! Yukun was cleaved open, creating a vacuum. Let's go! Taking the lead, Lin Xian unleashed a barrage of attacks in all directions. The Crimson Dragon, Yenryu, and the Northern Demon followed closely behind. During this time, the Crimson Dragon roared in all directions. It wanted to use the prestige of the dragon race to suppress these demon fish. However, the ghost fiend sharks were not afraid. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. The Northern Demon was also surprised. What kind of demon beast is this? It can actually ignore the suppression of the bloodline. They ran all the way until they escaped the pursuit of the ghost fiend sharks. Then, their expressions turned ugly. Damn it, this void sea is too strange. Yenryu said, "These ghost sharks were bloodthirsty. They must have eaten the corpse of the previous demon saint. That was why they became so terrifying. Moreover, that demonic saint was probably not ordinary. His flesh and blood contained a trace of the will of a saint, so these ghost fiend sharks were affected." You insulted the demonic saint just now, which attracted these ghost fiend sharks. All right, Rizalong, be careful. Don't touch it again, Lin Xian said. The Crimson Dragon shrugged, helplessly. Damn. How would I know that this place was so strange? All right, I'll be more careful in the future. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand. Then they asked Little White. Little White jumped into Yen Ryu's arms and ate the spirit fruit. Its big black eyes blinked in all directions. Then it pointed in a direction with its furry paw. Over there. They set off quickly. After walking for about a day, they had completely entered the void sea. The surroundings were no longer the same as when they first entered. This was simply an underwater world. Moreover, it was an underwater forest. The seaweeds were hundreds of meters long and rooted at the bottom of the sea. They were connected like trees, making it impossible for people to see clearly. Some of them had even cultivated into demons and could sneak attack people. The Crimson Dragon and the others were attacked. They were instantly wrapped up by the seaweeds. If not for their strength, they would have died here long ago. As expected, in these days, they heard screams from time to time. Blood dyed the sea red, and then it was washed away. Obviously, many of the people who came in had died in the mouths of these sea demons. This was definitely a very dangerous place. Boom, boom, boom. There was an abnormal current in front of them. The northern demon frowned. It seemed that some demon beast was coming. His 10,000 demon body sensed it. Chapter 33:44. Lin Xian and the others instantly hid in the seaweed and concealed their auras. Even their heartbeats were gone. They were like boulders hiding themselves. The black shadows in front of them flew over quickly. They were blue beasts that were as deep as the sea of stars. From afar, they looked like ferocious flood dragons or cheilants in the sea. However, they were not flood dragons or cheilants. They were seahorses. They were all demonic beasts that had cultivated into spirits. Each of them was hundreds of meters long, and one of them was even thousands of meters long. They were like the overlords of the sea. Wherever they passed, countless water demons prostrated themselves as if they were welcoming their king. Lin Xian and the others stared at the gigantic seahorse king in shock. There was actually such a terrifying sea demon. However, the seahorse king seemed to have sensed something. It turned its huge head, bringing with it a powerful wave. Its eyes swept over the area. Instantly, Lin Xian and the others became nervous. They realized that it was not an ordinary seahorse king, but a saint. It was the seahorse saint. Moreover, he did not look like an ordinary saint. He must have cultivated for many years and was surrounded by countless half-saint seahorses. He was definitely an overlord in the void ocean. Lin Xian and the others did not want to provoke such an existence. Therefore, they lowered their auras to the lowest. The seahorse saint glanced at them and did not pay any more attention to them. Then he left. In his opinion, even if he had discovered them, they would only be weak with such a weak aura. It was probably just like a bug. He wouldn't care about it at all. After the seahorses had left for a long time, Lin Xian and the others heaved a sigh of relief and quietly extended their souls. When they found that there was nothing strange around them, they walked out of the seaweed. They walked for another 2 days and went deeper. Suddenly, the little white monkey cheered. Ah, there's something ahead. It's good. Hearing that, Yen Ryu, Lin Xian, and the others' eyes lit up. They sped up. Soon they arrived in front of them. Then they were stunned. There was an underwater canyon in front of them. Seaweed grew in the canyon and emitted a dazzling light. They danced in the water like chains of laws. The aura emanating from it was simply too shocking. Spirit medicine. And it should be a 10,000-year-old spirit medicine. This was a real king of medicine. There were more than 10 of them. The Crimson Dragon was drooling. Ryu and the Northern Demon's eyes were burning. Such a king of medicine was extremely tempting even to a saint. Attack. Crimson Dragon and the others rushed forward to grab it and pull it hard. However, after pulling a few times, they found that they couldn't pull it off. What was going on? How could there be such a hard king medicine? They were all top-notch experts. This was especially true for Lin Xian, who was extremely strong. But now he was actually unable to grab it, which surprised him greatly. The crimson dragon waved its claws a few times and hit the bottom of the canyon. Then it frowned. It was so hard. Why did it feel like it was similar to the corpse of the demon saint? What? Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. He activated his Tianji god eyes, and a pair of golden eyes looked down from the sky. Soon he was surprised. It was really the corpse of a demonic beast. He didn't know what kind of demonic beast it was. It was too long. This canyon was actually filled with its corpse. However, it seemed that its corpse had been split open. He didn't know that it was split open by an external expert, or was it split open by the pure energy of the void ocean? This canyon was actually a demonic beast corpse, and these king medicines were growing on the corpse of a demonic beast. Yen Ruyu and the northern demon also exclaimed when they heard this. This king medicine was at least 10,000 years old, which meant that the corpse had existed for at least 10,000 years. The void ocean was really terrifying, according to the corpse of the demon saint. Its bones were very hard. It wouldn't be easy to get these king medicines. Let's hurry up and do it bit by bit. Ruyu, don't do anything. You stay outside and guard. We'll set up an array. Alert us if there's any danger. Yen Ruyu nodded. Then the Crimson Dragon set up an array to cover the surrounding scene. Otherwise, the 10,000-year-old spirit medicine would definitely attract the attention of other experts. It might even attract other sea demons. The Crimson Dragon was still puzzled. The sea demons should have been able to find this place. How could it be preserved? Soon, they found out. The corpse of the sea demon below was really too terrifying. Even though it had been dead for so many years, it still emitted a terrifying aura. As soon as Lin Xian and the other two stepped on it, a cold, murderous aura enveloped them as if it wanted to tear them to pieces. Lin Xian sighed. He knew that it wouldn't be so easy to get the treasures. Usually, there would be demonic beasts guarding them. There were more than 10,000-year-old spirit medicines here. Without the protection of a powerful sea demon, one could imagine that there was something wrong with the corpse. As expected, it was very strong. Ordinary half-saints couldn't withstand it. They roared and began to resist with all their might. They not only had to resist the terrifying aura of the demon saint corpse below, but they also had to try their best to get the 10,000-year-old spirit medicines. It was very difficult. On the outside, Yen Ruyu was checking the surroundings. Although the array covered everything, she was still not at ease. After about half a day, Lin Xian had plucked 6 of them, and there were still 5 floating there. Damn it, Ben Huang is exhausted. But the harvest was not bad. Looking at the 10,000-year-old spirit medicines, the Crimson Dragon was very excited. However, at this moment, Yen Ruyu shouted. Someone was coming. Hearing that, Lin Xian and the other 2 frowned. Yen Ruyu said, "You guys continue. I'll deal with it." She didn't move immediately. Instead, she stared ahead. A group of people walked over. There were a total of 5 people, and Yen Ruyu knew one of them, Zhao Wuliang. It seemed that they should be from the Dark Moon Temple. If it was only Zhao Wuliang, Yen Ruyu wouldn't be worried. But now, Zhao Wuliang was only one of the 5 people, and he was obviously not the leader. There was another person in front of Zhao Wuliang. He looked like a boy, but it was obvious that he was the leader. Yen Ruyu frowned. It seemed that the other party was not a young genius, but a sage, or an existence that had been sent down by a sage's clone. Zhao Wuliang and the others didn't notice anything, but the boy sage in front of them stopped. His eyes were filled with a strange light as he looked in all directions. Soon he sneered. There was actually an array here, and it was a concealment array. It seemed that the treasure should be here. He stretched out a large hand, which covered the sky and covered the earth. It was like a blood-colored cloud, and it slapped forward. Oh no, I've been discovered. Yenryu sighed. Sages are indeed powerful. She could only walk out of the array. Similarly, she slapped towards the sky with her fair hand. Boom, boom, boom. The fair hand collided with the blood-red hand, producing an earth-shaking sound. The blood-red hand was blocked, and Yenryu also took 2 steps back. There was indeed someone, the boy sage sneered, and the expressions of the 4 Dark Moon Temple powerhouses behind him changed. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.